Well, here we are again, Barry Funkhauser, and you're tuned in and watching Night Sounds. Hopefully you can hear me correctly. I've been having glitches lately. Josh is here. Hey, Josh. Oh, look at the living room camera you have going on here. How about
What
that?
what do you think about that, man? I've got the authentic 2009 Masters going on there, a little football memorabilia. This is quite the little man cave. Unfortunately, and I'm on real leather. Unlike my house, it's pleather. You can always tell it's real leather when you sit on it, and you just keep sinking, and you just fall in love with yourself. I'm like, my leather doesn't do that.
I was like, where
But
are you broadcasting from? The psychiatrist's office today?
I'm waiting in the lobby for in between breaks. I've got sessions. I'm over here at my dad's. My stepbrother is autistic, so he's officially 25 now, but because of the autism and whatnot, can't be alone, can't do that. So I'll be randomly checking in on him unless he just like out of nowhere pops into the show. Then hey man, it is what it is. So I'm kind of hanging out here at the old man's place, and I like it because it kind of gave a different thing. I wanted to have my microphone set up. I wanted to build the whole thing, and he gave me the old look. Not in my house. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll put on headphones, and we'll see how that goes.
You're doing what to who? Not in here.
Oh, not in here, boy. Let me tell you, that's real furniture. That's at high dollar. Yeah, I should, man. Now that he's not here, I could give you a full tour of there might be
The
deer
golf
and stuff
course.
out in
Are you next to the 18th green?
the right. No, I wish. I've got the big pool and everything out there. I
The
wanted to set up
19th hole?
outside the 19th hole. Well, technically, that's the bar just outside here. The other part of the plantation of the Sanchez residence. Um, so yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to today's show, man. We've got a very cool guest.
Yeah, Jasmine Maya Royce. She's from Tranquility magazine. It's an online publication with a podcast all about making you feel better. Things that make you feel better, mentally and
Mm,
physically.
all around. I
We'll be
wonder if she'll talk to us about relationships.
probably you always get it out of people. You
I
always find
do.
a way.
I like, you see, Barry, you know me well enough that I'm absolutely going to be that guy. I start off real slow. Hey, let's learn more about what you want. Let's talk. And then, boom, I go in for the kill and start talking sex, relationship. I want some adult version stuff. Well, as much as we can do here in Tahoe, until, of course, we go syndicated. We're making the big bucks, which would be, I think that would be awesome, right?
Big
Making a little
bucks.
coin having some people, some actual viewers, some listeners. That
You're
would be
dreaming, buddy.
fantastic. I must be. I didn't even hit the vape like you did, and I'm still dreaming,
You, you got
hallucinating.
you got more audience there at the 19th hole than we do
Right.
here at 5 o'clock on a Friday.
Right. I've got more people wandering around here than we do, which is sad. Come on, we got to do something more about that.
Hey, we'll just move on. We'll just carry on. Eventually they'll show up. Nobody shows up to an empty stage. So
No,
let's put the lights on it and do some stuff. We have some content,
rock
I'll
and
tell
roll.
you. Today, it's going to be a fun show. Friday night festivities. Let's start it off. Josh, this thing called Wallet Hub. Have you heard of it? It's a website that ranks things.
Yes, yeah. I love these websites that just find the most obscure content and say, you know what, let's rate it. It's like if that's your job, you just figure out, hey, top lamps, let's rate them. It's like they just whatever they're looking at. Oh, posters, let's rate them. So I'm dying to know what these guys are rating this time around.
Now they're rating the best coffee cities in the
Okay.
United States. Okay, now I'm sure if Joe was here, he would lose his mind on a story like that. Let's see if we can
Oh, we would.
give it me. Okay, let's see what Wallet Hub has got in the news in.
New study shows that you don't have to go far for the best cup of Joe, it turns out.
Okay, so Wallet Hub ranked the best coffee cities in America, and here are the results.
San Francisco,
Wow.
Portland, and Seattle, of course, ranked in the top 3. Long Beach, LA, and Anaheim ranked 15, 18, and 28, respectively. Long Beach also ranked highest in average price of a cappuccino. The National Coffee Association found that 65% of Americans drink coffee every day, with a total of 491 million cups served daily.
San Francisco.
That's a shocker.
It's that Phil's Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
They
are
started
based
up there and they're
Okay.
based there. I'm trying to think, isn't there another coffee company based up there? Blue Bottle. That's right. Yeah. So
Paul knows his coffee.
I think it's always been Seattle and Portland kind of, but wow, San Francisco.
All right. You know, Sheba doesn't drink coffee.
Oh,
I know.
what?
Every Saturday, Sunday morning, I'm like, how do you survive? She drinks tea. I drink the coffee. So
okay.
Yeah,
well,
not everybody does.
You and I can run up to San Francisco.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's what we're missing on LA morning news there. She drinks.
Right?
I don't.
She drinks. Hey, they automatically love to fight. That's got to stir up the tension. What can we argue about? I'm a tea person. No, you're a coffee person. And you've got the poor sportscaster. Maybe a cappuccino, guys. Can I talk? Dude, I don't know if I agree. I'm curious how they somehow landed on San Francisco as the number one. I understand Seattle, of course. I understand Portland. Now, before, I don't know if I would have completely agreed with Portland, but my sister lives in that area, and my mother went on vacation there, and she was telling me that there were coffee shops, different coffee shops on almost every single corner. You couldn't go somewhere in that city without literally running into a coffee shop. Now, yes, I understand San Francisco is a much larger city, but the way the media makes it sound is that, that between you fighting a homeless man and the cops and people breaking into buildings, where are the coffee shops located? I've just Long Beach, I guess I can kind of see. I don't know. You're an LA boy. You think Long Beach is more than Los Angeles? That seems odd to me.
None of these cities. Well, I mean, they're just picking the ones close by me. Well, Portland, SF, Long Beach. Long Beach is 15th. So I'm sure there's a lot of cities in between.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I'm sure they miss Texas.
Long Beach is
well,
a pretty good one to have a
is
couple.
it? Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
But you mean to tell me that in the top 5 that, I mean, they didn't put a top 3, 4, or 5. New York, Chicago, I guarantee you, I just think there's probably more coffee shops in New York than there is San Francisco. It just seems very odd to me that they somehow landed on that. That Wallet Hub, they just love stirring controversy, apparently. Stirring, get it? Stir coffee. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it's a non-story. Coffee's coffee wherever you go, I think.
Absolutely. Well, think about it. I mean, you nailed it, man. Any town I have ever been in, whether lived or visited, I get coffee. Airport, I get coffee. I land somewhere, find a coffee shop, get coffee. It just, that would truly be the industry if you could. Think about that, dude. Like, think about an investment opportunity from way back, like before Starbucks really became so over commercialized. Imagine just saying, you know what, I am going to invest in coffee, just a coffee shop, and get the best beans, come up with some good ingredients, and, cafe latte, all of this, and just investing in that from back in the 80s. Oh my God, dude. I mean, you'd be multi-millionaire just off of something like that. What an investment opportunity for anyone that jumped on that back in the 80s with Apple and Google and, all that. Just astounds me, man.
Yeah, people make it. We were watching, me and the Sweeter were watching Frasier the other day.
Me too.
You too?
Yes.
I think like the whole world is watching Frasier at some point. It's on every channel.
Yeah, always.
It's on them channels.
I
She,
love Frasier though.
she's never seen it before. So we're watching it in order. And I'm like, there's 11 seasons and 24 episodes per season. You want to watch this in order? You're never going to finish it. It's never going to get good for you if you watch it in order.
No,
So
some are better than the other.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually is really good in order. We're at episode like 5 or 6, you know what I mean? Going slow. But they're
Season
rebooting
1?
it. Yeah, yeah, season 1. They're
Season one.
rebooting it. It's coming out in about a month. Frasier the reboot. We're all very excited about it. Hmm.
Now, the only problem I have with that is that, I mean, obviously you couldn't have the father or Eddie; they've both passed on. They're not going to have the brother because they couldn't come to terms with money. Um, and then, of course, excuse me, sorry about that. The May, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on
What?
his. They all lived together. You had Frasier, the dad, and not nanny, the physical therapist. Her.
Oh,
Um,
what is her name?
gosh, not
Daphne.
Dart.
Daphne.
Daphne, thank you.
Yeah.
She won't be it either because she declined as well. In fact, the only original people besides Frasier is going to be an older version of the son, and I believe Lilith will come on randomly. But I guess the premise of it, of what I've heard, is that he's now moving in with his son. So now he is almost like the dad, which I love that concept. That just sounds great to me. And I think it'll still be fine. I dislike that it's not going to have some of the original cast because it's very different. I mean, they had such phenomenal chemistry, especially the brother. You know, the brother dynamic was so fantastic.
Well,
So,
he doesn't want to be part of it. I mean, that was the first thing I did was start to look into it and go like, "What? Where's everybody else?" And I guess
mhm.
David Hyde Pierce was
Pierce,
like,
yeah.
"Yeah, I'm good. I've done." Kelsey Grammer is like, "Well, he's an actor and he's already played that role, so I understand that he doesn't want to do it again." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I think it's more than that." And then I started reading into it, and Frasier, when he did that show, or Kelsey,
Kelsey
he
Grammer, yeah.
he never did like a dry run, a read through. He showed up, learned his lines like that day, and did one take, two takes in front of the studio audience. And as an actor, that he's probably really tough to work with. You can't rehearse with him or nothing. He's just like, I wouldn't want to go back there. You ever worked with somebody that's like, I don't care who it is, what gig, I'm never working with this person again. I think that's the feeling.
Absolutely, man. The morning show, my mentor, John Lyle, it was the Lyle and Hahn show. And they were on the radio here in San Antonio, Texas for just over 35 years. And come
Damn,
to
you're
find
calling
out,
out names, huh? Naming and
yeah,
shaming.
I'm name dropping. They hated each other. I mean, when the show broke up, they pretty much said, I am never speaking to you again. And they haven't to this day. So that's a local thing. I can imagine something like this. Dude, and that's another thing, man. No proof. I didn't realize they didn't do practice runs. That content was not easy. I mean, it was even the style of writing was so above and beyond anything that's ever been out there, from the lingo, from certain styles of wine and art. Dude, that's not easy content. So yeah, I would kind of be like, are you sure we can't do a dry run? I mean, that's a lot of fun things I'm having to memorize. So
And all those
yeah,
big
man,
words and whatnot. I mean,
that's a
good Lord.
lot of words, dude. That's a
Yeah.
lot of words, man. Yeah, very difficult stuff.
Anyway, we were talking about coffee with that, and it's
Mhm.
because they're
They're always
uh,
at the coffee shop.
they're always at their coffee shop, but there's not like they're saying, "Oh, my Starbucks." They're talking about their local Starbucks, and I'm thinking it hasn't been like I don't think there was a Starbucks everywhere back in season 1 of Frasierland, 1994.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, wow, look at that time traveling. How about that?
That,
That's
and they always stuck with it because I found that rather interesting. I think it was called Nova or something, Cafe Nova. And that was their spot. And I always laugh because, I mean, this was early 90s, right? And then they never walked up to the counter. Yes, my usual. And they go about their thing. It's like, I'm like, what, a barista actually knowing your
yeah,
order?
right.
If the place could be packed, right? It was always packed. And they're like, yes, I want the blah, 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 just move on. And I was like, when did they pay? Did they ever show them occasionally pay, like every once in a while? I'm like, wow, that is definitely old school. Now with most of the baristas here, they'd go, excuse me, you can walk up like everybody else.
Right. Well, I'm sure the boys were good tippers, even though we never saw them pay ever on
Oh,
it.
I'm sure. Absolutely. They had to have been, dude. With the
Yeah.
money, that was another thing, man. The area he lived in, with the Space Needle right there. I kept thinking, man, a radio guy making that kind of money in afternoons? What is he making? What's his salary? Are you
Don't do the
kidding
math.
me?
Yeah, that doesn't work out. That's
No, dude.
I mean, pre-90 or early 90s money, you could pull that off, I think. But
Probably. Yeah. Now, not unless you're syndicated and you're in New York. I mean,
not even
there's,
then now. It's over,
yeah,
man.
yeah, no, there's no way anybody's
We're
doing
here
that.
on the internet. That's what's going on, man. There's a job for one.
Way
You know?
to totally bring the room down and depress me. That's why we're on the internet for
Hey,
no
but you know
reason.
what? Just like Fraser, I myself am a good tipper, and I found myself in this situation. I don't know if you have, Josh,
Yes.
that you're a guilt tipper, whereas you go to a spot and just everything's urging you to like give them a couple extra bucks. You know what I mean? Let's hear more about it. Here, listen.
More Americans say they're feeling the pressure of having to tip when prompted to do so on those digital services.
It is a growing phenomenon being dubbed guilt tipping. The new report on Forbes Advisor says at least 73% of people are leaving excessively high tips because they're being prompted to select a tipping option on digital devices. According to the survey, 40% of people don't think food truck workers should ask for tips. 38% think tips shouldn't be solicited at fast casual restaurants, while 34% say coffee shops shouldn't promote for digital tips. Respondents say they leave at least 11% or more gratuity on orders. Overall, just under a third of Americans say they feel pressured to leave a bigger tip on digital devices as opposed to when there's simply a cash tip jar by the cash register. So what we're talking about is not like a sit-down dining experience.
No.
I think we're talking about more of those times where you get a scoop of ice cream and or something like that. You know, the other day I actually went, I think I just got a lemonade or an iced tea.
Yeah.
And same thing, they flip it around for you to sign, and usually the tip thing pops up, but the person who was running the register deleted that. Like, didn't even let me be
nice.
faced with that. Do I leave you a tip for
Right.
my iced tea?
Yeah,
She
for
just
my
said,
$1.50
"Forget it."
iced tea.
Yeah. And I thought that was kind of nice.
So you gave her,
Yeah,
gave
then
her
you
a
gave
tip.
her this huge
Thanks
tip,
for that
right?
nice
Just thought, I
move.
mean, you know, because she even thought, you know, it took me 1 second to get your iced tea. Here you go.
You know, it's interesting that often the choices on those digital things start
Oh,
at
yes.
18, 22,
Yeah.
Up to 25.
25.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's just another way to get a tip, is doing the swipe thing that she said there. You know what I mean? Me
Of
myself,
course.
I've been going to food trucks lately, man,
Yeah.
and it's funny, they take Zelle and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They do a lot of those. I love the food trucks, man. And let me tell you, those guys bust their ass. I always make sure to leave a very good tip at the food truck because you got to assume the amount of overhead and the fact that it is only maybe two people working. And there is so much that you have to do, the multitasking. I just understand, and maybe it's because I've always known people that own food trucks or that have worked in that kind of industry that I say to myself, that's absolutely fine. I'm okay with tipping a little extra, that more than I would do maybe at a sit down restaurant or somewhere
We're
else.
talking about them Square apps that they force you. Like you're at a place where you probably don't need to tip, and then it goes in your face. Like, would you like to tip 10% or 15 or
course.
20 or 25?
Yes. And I will tell you, I don't do that. I'm the guy they don't want. I look at that and click no tip
Yeah.
right off the bat. Look, man, I will not be bullied into tipping anything that has to do with drinks, anything like that. Coffee shops, ice cream parlors. It doesn't matter where it is. I went to a restaurant the other day that automatically, because I always take a look at, you read everything to make sure everything was done right. It already added 18% gratuity and then asked you if you'd like to tip more. Now, this was for a group event, right? There was like 15 of us, and I think that's probably the deal they had made. But guess what? I read it. Most of the people there didn't read it, and they were just like, oh, that's my line to tip. And I was telling people, I'm like, yo, it was already part of the bill, man. You're just giving them more money. Well, they did. I'm like, no, they already got their tip. I'm not going to tip them anymore. Oh, you're so cheap. So now I'm the a-hole. Now I'm the cheap guy that all of a sudden, oh, you don't want to give them more money. I'm like, dude, they got paid for an actual meal.
It does make you feel a bit uneasy, even if you are a good tipper. When I was in Santa Barbara at this place called the Funk Zone, and it's all like it's the arts district of that city.
Right.
Supposed to be kind of slummy. There's like it's industrial. There's like art and stuff everywhere, spray paint.
Okay.
There's a guy selling coffee out of his Volkswagen minibus that he
Oh
converted
my
into a
God.
coffee shop. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I went to a place there to have a bite, very expensive bite, and the gratuity was included at 24%. I said, wow, they got me. They got me. I didn't think they'd get me here, but they got me here. They got you. So yeah, I don't think you're cheapskate for looking.
No, I always look. It
Yeah,
upsets. See, that kind of upsets me though, man, because why did they automatically throw the gratuity before even giving you the option? Typically, yeah, you're supposed to tip, but they don't usually add the tip to it unless you're like a large group of people, 10 or more,
not
gratuity included.
some
Wow.
places in California started doing that at the very end of the lockdown. They started throwing gratuity on there, try to supplement it. Yeah, man. They call it
Holy
like
cow.
they call it other things like survival fee or hospitality tax or something like that.
Okay.
Barista tax, stuff like that. Yeah, it's shady. It's just shady. I'm
It
not a fan.
It's super shady. No, dude, I really don't like it. And I hate the fact that they're still throwing the whole COVID lockdown thing to it. It's like, well, it's just better for the employees. And that's how we keep the lights on. And that's how we're able to bring you such. It's like BS. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, just stop.
Well, I appreciate them trying to
Aggravating.
do the math, but it's not going to math for me. The math ain't mathin'. All right.
No.
But I think
18%. There you go. That's if you were great, is
no,
I'll do
it's like
18.
if it's under $20, then you're going to type in a number and then a dot and a 00.
There you go.
You don't add the 20 and the 30 and try to make it a round number. Just throw if you equate the digits to dollars. Like pretend you're going to go in your wallet thing, you pull out $1 or $2,
Mhm.
and then you got to do it digitally. Don't let it be easy for you. You can math it. All right. It's all that's what the pressure of it just needs to go away, man.
Absolutely.
And I think I know why, because we're all
Oh.
afraid that the world is coming to an end financially here in
Dun,
the
dun.
United States with $7 a gallon gas and all this other stuff. But now I guess all of our senators went away for the weekend to have themselves a little 4-day weekend. Let's hear about it here. Listen.
The Associated Press reporting that the federal government begins preparing for a partial government shutdown today.
On top of that, Congress leaves town for the weekend without a temporary deal to keep the lights on. Doug Luzader joins us live from Capitol Hill with more. Doug.
Good morning. Yeah, you have the House kind of thrown in the towel at this point. Many lawmakers are heading home, if they're not home already, for an extended weekend with no deal yet to avert a possible shutdown. Get the shutdown signs ready to go. The federal government has been here before, and it could happen again next week. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy did not hide his frustration.
This is a whole new concept of individuals that just want to burn the whole place down. That doesn't work.
The money flow for the country turns off a week from tomorrow. The federal agencies will soon start bracing for what would be a partial shutdown, closing many federal offices and sending non-essential federal workers home. About the best chance to avoid that now is a stopgap spending deal called the Continuing Resolution, or CR. But some conservatives say spending levels are still too high, and a handful are refusing to budge.
CRs are like Lay's potato chips. You never seem to be able to stop at just one.
And complicating this are calls to add in Ukraine war funding or measures to address an explosive increase in illegal border crossings. Democrats, meantime, won't consider cuts, and the White House is blaming Republicans.
This is not for us to fix. This is for House Republicans to fix. The extreme House Republicans, this is on them.
All right, now there will be some work behind the scenes, we assume, over the weekend to see if they can come up with some kind of a temporary deal. I mean, that's the only hope right now, that there's a temporary deal to avert this shutdown, and there's not even much time to get that done at this point. Bob and Brooke.
And so if it does happen, Doug, what how is this going to impact us? How will this impact Americans?
It depends how long it goes. You're talking about a lot of federal agencies essentially shutting down as far as interfacing with the public. You've got the potential for, national parks to shut down for that period of time. Federal employees would not receive paychecks. They're generally always paid back for that time, but they will go for a period of time without immediate pay. So, it's disruptive, and we've certainly been through this before.
Yeah. All right. Doug Luzader, live for us in Washington. Doug, thank you for that.
Thanks, man. All right. Well, anyway, the government shut down. Nobody's doing their goddamn jobs. We're sitting here trying to get by with food stamps and whatnot, man. I don't like it at all.
Oh, no, not the parks shutting down. Look, man, we deal with this nonsense every year. It's always the same thing, right? It's like, the House Republicans, and then the flip side, the Democrats. Look, it's the blame game. They push each other's buttons. They push it off. Unfortunately, government employees have to deal with a lot of this nonsense, whereas individuals like us, we're not truly affected by it unless you're going to a park. Oh my God, I can't go to a public. That's not going to bother me none. It would be a bigger issue if it was something beyond drastic of them saying, so here's the deal. If we don't come to agreement, no one will be able to take out any money. Banks are shut down, so are ATMs. You have no access to your finances because the government shut down. Now, that would be something that every single American would go, oh, hey, wait a second. What are you talking about? Gas. Nope, can't get gas either. Groceries. Nope, that's not going to happen either. That is truly the only way that Americans would truly start to look at this a little more seriously, because we're not affected. Now, what I said, that sounds dramatic, right? And it is very dramatic. But the only way most people would truly pay attention to a lot of the media noise right now behind that is because they're not truly affected by it, right? Because they said the federal employees, they already expect not to get a check, but they'll get back pay, and that is what it is. But that's, in the scheme of things, that's not a large percent of the population. That sucks, right? It is what it is. But the only way it'll truly start to make a difference is if they said, hey, sorry, can't get any money out for the weekend. Hope you saved up. Bye. Then it would be an issue. Then you'd have rioting. Then we would really start to pay attention to the House, to House Republicans, House Democrats, other individuals that we're voting for. Then it would truly matter.
No, it wouldn't. It's never going to matter. Because what you're talking about is a dream. What are you, Mickey Mouse? Let's go back to Disneyland, man, with all that crap.
You don't know. It could happen. It could happen.
It could happen. In a perfect world, when people go back to work and they do, sound like Elon. Why don't you go and buy a letter?
I'm going to go buy a rocket ship. How about that? Go to Mars and say to hell with it.
Where you're already nearby one. Do you ever get to see the rocket take off? Oh, I guess they don't do that there. They do it in Florida, right? Yeah.
No, they do space. What is it called? SpaceX. It's in Austin. Yeah, they do it in Austin. You can see it blow up. We almost had it. The guy that has to go on the rocket's like, oh, you better fix that. I'm not jumping on that.
Yeah, let's take two on that there. Let's fix that.
Take two. You better do that a couple of dozen more times, because I'm not jumping in that.
All my rocket ships are recyclable. It's fine.
It's fine when they blow up. It's good for the Earth. The poor bastard going, what do you mean? I got a minute? No.
Well, in a minute here, we're going to check in with our digital boy, Chase Shumway. We're going to talk about all this news going down with ABC TV stations getting sold, maybe, and Rupert Murdoch steps down and puts his son in charge. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, CJ Barkis will be on Monday with us. He's in a couple of bands, and I think he's in this one here. This is Baba Jenkins. Let's play a song now on Night Sounds. Enjoy this one from local band Baba Jenkins. This is Gali Gali on Night Sounds.
It's windows down, AC on whipping. didn't know where to go. Block game, rolling dice, hitting 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven, watch me roll. That's enough for a line up. Power shop, get it lined up. Chop it up, food for thought, feed the soul. I'm talking galley, galley. Ooh, it's hotter than the earth's core. Ooh, damn baby, galley, galley. Ooh, it's hot just like the booze pour. Ooh, damn baby, really will. What's the deal? Grilled chicken, patio, mom and gay on the radio. I'll be there, neighborhood around the corner. Kids outside spraying down, playing with the hose. Playing rims, watch for potholes. Fine girl walking along. Let me see if she need a ride home. I'm talking galley, galley. Ooh, she's hotter than the earth's core. Ooh, damn baby, galley, galley. Ooh, you're hotter than the earth's core. Ooh, damn baby. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Willie Will, what's the deal with chicken? Patio, mom and gay on the radio. I'll be there, neighborhood around the corner. Kids outside spraying down, playing with the hose. It's a good day. It's a good day. I'm talking galley, galley. Ooh, it's hotter than the earth's core. Ooh, damn baby, galley, galley. Ooh, it's hot just like the booze pour. Ooh, damn baby, it's a good day. Good day, baby. It's a good day. I'm talking galley, galley. Ooh, it's hotter than the earth's core. Ooh, damn baby, galley, galley. Ooh, it's hot just like the booze pour. Ooh, damn baby.
Damn, baby.
Yeah.
That's a little tune.
Baba Jenkins there, summertime song called Galley Galley. I guess that means good day or something in another language.
Okay.
It is Night Sounds. Josh and Barry here tonight for you on a Friday. And it wouldn't be the end of the week without talking to our resident media relations hero, Chase Shumway. Let's bring him on the program. Hey, Chase.
Chase.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Always sounding good there. Always looking good in the blue. Like you're on Neptune.
He's in that ship that won't blow up from SpaceX, if that's what it's called.
That's right. Yeah. You're in the cockpit. Well, what you been up to, Chase? Tell us a little bit about the land of Twitch while we got you.
Oh, well, I actually just finished my live stream a few minutes ago. So
it went had more people than us.
And, you know, you were just talking about my audio quality. I was having audio issues through the whole stream. One of my pieces of software had an update right before I went live. I knew better than to run the update, but this software doesn't let you use it unless you update. Like, you can't hit cancel. So yeah, and the audio went out halfway through, so I had to reboot while they watched some random clips play, and then it got all crackly at the end, and so I just cut it short. I was like, all right, you know what? We're done. That's fine. I don't want people to listen to the Jack in the Box drive-through sound. So yeah, hopefully Josh, it's working now.
Yeah, Josh, you want to break it to him, or you want me to?
Yeah, it's still pretty bad, brother.
We can hear you.
Horrible, but it's not horrible, but it is.
Yeah, I think we've got glitches all day for some reason because we were trying things out with Jasmine earlier and having some problems too. So I think it's just a glitchy kind of day.
I blame the government because they're shutting down. They're going to shut us down, man.
He's gonna go ahead and fix it right now. There you go.
Is he? I guess that's wow. He is the very techie guy. That is what he does. I guess you should have broken. You should have broken it to him. Now I feel bad. The poor guy's like, you know what? F Josh. I'm out of here. I'm gonna fix this. Don't go.
No, you know what? It's live media. This is what happens. We'll he'll figure it out there in Vegas. Maybe he's got to reboot again.
Man, it's always those stupid updates. Every time you've got an update, it always screws up at least one or two different things, and you're like, well, what's the use of an update? Did you get? Oh no, you're a Microsoft guy, aren't you? You don't have an iPhone.
No, but everybody's getting it late thanks to UPS. I hear UPS is screwing up the delivery dates, and everybody's supposed to get it today, and they're like, well, you're gonna get it maybe on Monday, and people
maybe. The government. I was only going to mention that their new software update, the 17, I think it's 17.0. Man, there's a bunch of cool stuff on this thing. I'm actually, it's the one update that I can look at and go, hey, that's kind of cool.
Is it the OS called Ventura? Is that the one that's coming out? Are you keeping track of the names of the OS? Is that a thing?
Dude,
I hear that's a thing.
No, I think that stuff is stupid. I don't care they come up with, O'Hara, Sahara, Ventura, Alpha, Beta, Bat. I mean, what do I care? Does it work? Are you going to mess up my computer if I have to update it? Am I going to have to start changing things? No.
Well, listen, it's a cute idea, but when you Google Ventura now, you don't get the city. Which is where
you get OS?
You get all the troubleshooting. Oh, Ventura doesn't work because of this, and you got to do the plug-in for Ventura because of that. And I'm like, plug-ins? I want to know where to get a beer.
Dude, I didn't realize you were in Ventura. For some reason, I thought, I don't know where I
Ventura County. I'm about 10 minutes, 15 minutes from Ventura. And it's north of me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So how far from the beach are you then?
Like 8 minutes or something. It's insane how close I am to the beach.
Okay. Yeah. There he is.
Let's hear him.
Hey, am I back? Does it sound better?
It sounds beautiful, but
sounds great, but it's just a thumbnail of you. Not that we don't like it, but there's no actual video.
You know what it looks like, Chase? It looks like, here's what it looks like to me. It's the last image that you would send out just before you exploded. That's
what I'm about to do, actually. Yeah, with all these tech issues I'm having.
Right, you're saying goodbye to your family. You're getting ready. You're right in the midst of a great speech, and then this photo.
He's in shock right now. He clicked the wrong button. That's the look on his face. It's like, let's see what this does. Boom.
Chase will forever be missed.
That's okay. We like the image. We can stick with the image, man. Let's talk about Rupert Murdoch, man, because I know
there he is.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. It's too much blue. That's what's happening.
Right.
Too blue in here. Well, I wanted to bring Chase on because he's a know-it-all when it comes to media relations, and there has been a lot of news going on. I don't know anything about San Antonio television. I should look into it. I know a little bit about Lake Tahoe television. I know the closest one is in Reno. And they do some pretty good news. But I don't know who owns it. Chase pretty much knows who owns everything and everyone. And,
most likely it's a Nexstar or a Sinclair station.
There you go. Sinclair owns the NBC station and the PBS. Well, not PBS. What's the other one? CW. Yeah, that's all Sinclair there. Yeah. Man, you're good, dude.
Yeah. Well, Sinclair and Nexstar own everything pretty much. It's like,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah. What's going on with Rupert Murdoch?
Okay, we'll cover that one too. I was going to go to the other story, but we'll talk about
yeah. Go ahead
first. Well, that dude quit, man. He's out skis. You know what I
Well,
mean? He's 92 years old, but he decided to hang it up.
I was gonna say he is 92.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But who's going to be the guy in charge? Not me, not Chase, not Josh even. Guess who? His kid.
Mhm.
His freaking kid. And his
Uh-oh.
kid has some weird name like Lanyard or something.
Lachlan.
Lachlan.
Yeah.
Let's call him Lanyard.
Jeez.
Let's hear the story though. This is from the horse's mouth. Here's the news. Here, watch this.
Company, Fox Corporation. In a note to employees today, he says he's decided that in November he will move to the role of chairman emeritus at both Fox and at Fox Corp. He says going forward, his son Lachlan will be the sole chair of both companies. In his note, Rupert Murdoch says for his entire professional life, he's been, quote, engaged daily with news and ideas, and that will not change. And he says he will still be an active member of the Fox community, reaching out with thoughts and ideas and advice as he does every day. He goes on to say, quote, our companies are in robust health, as am I. Our opportunities far exceed our commercial challenges. We have every reason to be optimistic about the coming years. I certainly am, and plan to be here to participate in them. But the battle for the freedom of speech and ultimately the freedom of thought, he continues, has never been more intense. My father firmly believed in freedom, and Lachlan is absolutely committed to the cause, end quote. In a news release today, Lachlan congratulated his father on his 70-year career in media. He says this, we thank him for his vision and his pioneering spirit, his steadfast determination, and the enduring legacy he leaves at the companies he founded and countless people he has impacted, end quote. We'd like to add our gratitude as well. Rupert Murdoch created all of this and so much more across America and the globe. His life's work has left an indelible imprint on the global media landscape. His contributions are both innumerable and extraordinary, and we thank him for letting us be a part of it all. Thank you, Rupert, and congratulations. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Yeah. Thanks. Congratulations there, old
God,
man.
they were kind of talking like he died.
I was going to say, copy paste that for his funeral message, man. When
Yeah, right.
Like in memoriam for Rupert, he'll be missed.
That's why he led with, I'm in good health.
Is he? Because that photo, he didn't look like he was in good health. I'm wondering if he stepped down because he could no longer sexually harass any of the women, so he's leaving it to his son now. My boy will do it just fine.
He looks like the type, doesn't he?
I'd seen some headline that said that he was stepping down so that he didn't have to testify in the next trial with the other voting machine company.
These
So
boys don't hand it over. It doesn't even matter if it's his kid. They're not letting it. They're not handing it over unless they have to, unless they're in so much trouble or they don't want to deal with it anymore. You know, it's like.
Well, so the company is in a trust, and all 4 kids, I think he has 4 kids, are in the trust. Lachlan will be in charge of the company, but apparently after Rupert dies, the other kids can seize control if they want. They can hold some sort of a vote or whatever, and they can oust Lachlan if they don't like the way he's running things. So they just have to rally their siblings, apparently. But
very similar to the HBO show Succession.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Is that like what?
It's
what
based
came
on the Murdoch family.
On
Yeah,
the Murdoch family. Yeah. So I'm trying to think then, did you ever watch Succession?
I've seen pieces of it. I
yeah,
get
me
it.
too. Just a few clips. It's about like a TV network, so I would love it. I should
Right.
watch it.
Dude, let me tell you, it is probably one of the better HBO shows out there. I loved it, and that final season is probably one of the best acting and writing I've seen on HBO in many, many years. You'd probably love it. I highly recommend seeing it. But from that show, I'm wondering which character this Lanyard kid is from Succession. If it's the older guy or if it's the younger, I just don't know.
I think Lachlan is the oldest
Oh,
son.
really?
I think,
Okay.
but don't quote me on that.
All right. And the joke of the sexual harassment that did happen. That he got sued many times from many very high profile women of a part of the sexual harassment back from. And Jason, tell me if I'm right on the controversy. I mean, I've seen enough of these made for TV stuff where it was there, and then you read the books where, like, yeah, Rupert knew about sexual harassment. He engaged in sexual harassment in the Fox family and friends and everything else. So Megyn Kelly was one of the ones that was breaking this, that she was doing.
Yeah, so Roger Ailes, who ran Fox, he was doing a lot of that, and I feel like there was some complacency there. Yeah, that there wasn't, Rupert and them, they weren't stepping in until they had to, like the pressure. There was too much pressure, and then they finally had to be like, okay, yeah, we got to cut you loose.
But a lot of the time, right? Like how similar to it's all about money, right? That they'll just keep putting it under the rug, and then finally when it blow up, and then it's going to cost them beyond million, they're like, well, I guess I have to say something now. You're affecting my overhead. What do you think his kid's going to do? You think his kid's going to be the same way, of just brushing controversy under the rug, or do like his father? Or
yeah, I don't see any like major changes at Fox News. I've read some reports that Lachlan's actually more conservative than Rupert is. Yeah, he's a climate change denier and was all about the election denying and was actually rooting for the hosts to promote that more. So whereas one of the other sons, I guess, is also, they're all conservative, but they're less so, and they try to dial it back a little bit with him, and didn't agree with some of the stuff he was doing with the network. But yeah, I don't see any changes at all. They know what makes money over there, and so they're gonna continue forward. But yeah, I just looked it up, by the way. Lachlan is the oldest. He is the oldest.
Okay, he is the oldest. All right. Yeah. Ooh. Got to watch Succession then. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to love it. Barry, it might be too highbrow for you. I don't know.
I'm going to try to. I started. There's a lot of big words in it.
There's a lot of big words, man. Got to have to keep that thesaurus and dictionary nice and close.
Well, there's another scuttlebutt happening in local news. Me and Chase have been texting about it for a while now. There's a big company called Sinclair. There's another one called Nexstar. And there's another one you know of called Disney. And Disney owns some TV stations. They own one here in LA. And they're for sale. They're trying to sell it off. Disney, the people that are running Disney no longer want the media, the local media department. So they're trying to find a buyer. Now, earlier this week, there was a guy named Byron Allen. And he sounds familiar. I think he's a famous guy, billionaire.
Yep.
He
big media mogul.
He threw in $10 billion for it, and they go, maybe. Can we talk to you later about it? Yeah.
$10 billion, and they're scoffing at it. Oh my god.
Yeah. So Bob Iger, who runs Disney, the CEO over there.
Before you get started, let me show you this clip about.
We have a clip.
Who the potential buyers might. Let's go to the clip.
Turn to Disney, which is in talks apparently with several bidders to sell its ABC network, something the CEO Bob Iger has hinted might happen as he tries to remake the company in the streaming era. The stock, Disney, down 23% this year and more than 50% below all-time highs. Let's bring in CNBC.com's Alex Sherman now with more on how this process could play out and who the possible buyers could be. Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. So I think we're early. We're very early in this process still. In fact, Disney released a public statement last night saying, "Look, we've made no decisions whatsoever here, but we're thinking about what we might do with our assets," which echoes what Disney CEO Bob Iger said to our own David Faber a couple months ago. Disney wants to transform its business to a more modern-looking company, and it realizes that the traditional pay TV bundle is declining, has been declining for years. And it's kind of finally, it's come to Jesus moment here, where it's like, look, we may need to modify this company. We may need to sell off some of these assets that used to be crown jewels for us that aren't anymore.
What could be bundled along with ABC in any possible sale, and who might the buyer be or buyers?
So there have been preliminary discussions with Nexstar. Nexstar is an owner of many different local affiliate TV stations around the country, but it also owns some national assets. It owns the CW network, or the majority of it. It's starting its own sort of news network called News Nation. It owns The Hill. It owns other digital media assets. It makes a lot of sense that Nexstar would be interested in buying the 8 owned and operated local stations that Disney owns, which are in big markets, typically Chicago, New York, LA. Disney owns 8 of these things in addition to the ABC network. The interesting question is, does Nexstar also buy ABC? That would be really industry changing if one of these local TV network affiliate companies owned the network itself. That doesn't exist today, of course. CBS owned by Paramount, our own parent company, NBC Universal, of course, owns the NBC station. Fox owns Fox. So that would be the real industry shaker. The question I have there is, if Disney wants to stay in the sports business and wants to keep owning ESPN, do they really want to sell the ABC network? Because so many of those sports that air on ESPN also air on ABC.
Alex, and also talk through, since we haven't seen that before, what would it look like? What would the implications be of a TV operator like Nexstar owning a marquee network like ABC?
So what's in it for Nexstar is that it could use ABC as leverage to get more what are called retransmission fees paid from these local networks. In other words, when Nexstar negotiates with a large pay TV operator like DirecTV or Dish or Comcast or Charter, there are fees paid from the pay TV operator to Nexstar for the right to carry those broadcast networks. Sometimes you see there are carriage blackouts, right? We just saw one with Disney and Charter, where the ABC networks and ESPN and so forth went off the air for Charter. So these happen from time to time. In fact, Nexstar is in a blackout right now with DirecTV trying to get a deal. So if they owned ABC, they'd have more leverage for those discussions. On the flip side, though, there are current carriage negotiation or carriage rights deals that already are in existence with all of those pay TV operators and ESPN and ABC with Disney. So those deals may need to be rewritten because they're already in existence if ABC were to be separated from ESPN. I think that is a major complication that would be a factor in why a deal like this wouldn't get done.
Yeah, so for the real story, let's go to our Chase Shumway on the topic, because we've been covering it for a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, he pretty much summed it up there. Personally, I don't want Nexstar to own ABC. I think Nexstar owns way too much as it is. They own like almost 200 local stations. So if you watch your local news or whatever, there's a pretty good chance it's either a Nexstar station, a Sinclair, or a Scripps. Those are like the 3 big ones. Nexstar, like he said, Nexstar already owns News Nation, which used to be WGN America. They already own what's it called? The CW. They own that. They have the majority stake of that network. It's way too much like that. So now we're talking about they would purchase the ABC television network, which would include all 7 of ABC's O&O stations, which are in the 7 biggest markets, KABC, WABC. I mean, it's, yeah, we can't have Nexstar owning ABC. But apparently Byron Allen wants to buy it too. And if that name sounds familiar, Byron Allen, probably one of the biggest media companies he owns is the Weather Channel. So, yeah, he actually recently bought that. So, and he also owns.
How's that been doing? Maybe he's the one that did the whole retro overnight look.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that might have been his idea. You know what I always think about though with these Disney's talking about selling ABC because they want to be a more modern company. So is ABC not turning a profit? Is it not turning enough of a profit? And it's like when you go to sell something like that, like what's the selling point? You're like, I can't make any money with this. Maybe, I'll just pass it on and let it be someone else's problem. So it's interesting to me that there's actually interested buyers. But from the couple of headlines I've seen the last couple of days is that Bob Iger is going to have a very difficult time convincing Disney shareholders to go through with selling ABC, because like they were just saying in that clip, ABC is so tied into so much other stuff, like with Disney Plus, and then ESPN. They have deals with the Monday Night Football and all of this. So I don't know. I don't know how it would work.
I'll tell you, man. I think it's company bloat. I think they need to make 2 or 3 companies out of this thing, split them up. You know what I mean? It's just too many.
You mean obey antitrust laws that have been on the books since we built the railroads? No, we can't do that.
That's
that makes
crazy
too much
talk.
sense.
Yeah, calm down.
The other thing too is the duopoly thing. The FCC has this duopoly clause or whatever, your rule or whatever, where any major media company can't own more than 2 television stations in any given market. And again, Nexstar owns almost, they own like 197 television stations. So owning the ABC network now, like how would that work, especially in Los Angeles, for example? They already own KTLA, Channel 5. So now they'll own Channel 7 as well. Which, I mean, like, don't these stations, doesn't Channel 7 have like a secondary Operation 2 or KTLA? One of them, they all, like, a lot of these big stations will have like a secondary station on an indie channel or on the CW. They'll do like a 10 o'clock news or something. So how would that all work? With not owning more than 2 broadcast signals.
Yeah, it's a strange conundrum, man. And Byron Allen, that'd be a cool one. Let's just hope it's not somebody like Elon. You know what I mean?
They'll just rename it X. It'll be the X network.
Yeah, they'll all be called X.
Everything, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you had me interested in if Nexstar owned any station here in San Antonio. Turns out, yeah, they own CBS here, Ken's TV. So, wow, that's amazing. I didn't even pay much attention to that before, but how about that?
Yeah, local news is a mess, man. The ownerships of all these local stations. I mean, newspapers were the first to get screwed over, and then they're coming after TV. I guess radio was first, but
of course, yes.
And it's pretty much the exact same thing. These investment firms come in and they buy the newspapers, and then they just gut them, and then can write off the losses or whatever. And the similar thing is happening with local news, local TV news. Is they're bought up by these massive conglomerates, and then the massive layoffs. They cut pay, and they hire new people at very low wages. I mean, here in Las Vegas, Nexstar bought our CBS affiliate, and the very first thing they did was they got rid of the helicopter, so no more live aerial reports, and they fired the traffic guy who flew around in it. And then a couple of the longtime anchors that were here, they saw which way the wind was blowing, and they retired as soon as their contracts were up. and then the station has just continued to go downhill since then. It's nothing like it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
I figured that's what makes money, man. The people in the helicopters with the car chases, all the crazy stuff like that, man. You need the copters, man.
Right? Well, in LA, it does. Like Vegas, we have like 2 freeways. So like the high-speed chase would just be it'd just keep going in a circle.
NASCAR.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I don't know. In Vegas, man, you guys had a pretty big story over there of those two teens that wound up doing hit and runs on bicyclists and whatnot. One of them was your ex-chief of police out there that they did wind up killing. That's made the news all over the place. Wow. You want to talk about a dramatic story? I just saw that made the national news, but the guys that are 17 told the news reporter, they said, we're only going to get a slap on the wrist because we're technically juveniles. And the judge was like, oh no, you're adults now, and we're going to go for the death penalty.
Yeah, there's something here in Nevada, I think, that if you're over 16, you can automatically be charged as an adult or something like that. But yeah, I believe they're both him and the passenger who was
And the
taking the
passenger.
video. Yeah, they're going to be charged as adults.
I
As they
saw
should be.
that video, man, on TikTok, uncensored. It is graphic. It is just horrible, man.
And they had hit
scumbag
someone
kids.
earlier too. They'd hit someone who survived, and then they'd also hit a car. I don't know if it was a parked car, it was moving, but yeah, it's just unbelievable.
Horrible, man.
Dude.
Horrible stuff.
Well, Chase, thanks for coming on to clear the air about the air.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll have you on again anytime news breaks.
Yes.
We'll have the man in blue coming
I'll
through.
be here, hopefully without any more audio glitches.
You did good, man.
'Tis the season, my friend. Happy Halloween. I'll see you in a couple of days. Next time there's news.
Sounds good.
Later,
All
man.
right. This is Night Sounds, Barry and Josh. And, since it is the holidays coming up, Halloween is a holiday, in my opinion.
I love it.
I want to play an artist that I interviewed a couple weeks ago with Joe, probably a month or two ago now. Her name is Goblin. So
a lot of jokes I'm keeping back. All right.
let's play Goblin now on Night Sound.
Oops. I had the cap on, of course. Hello there. Who are you? Molly is in a very special dress today, and the question really is why?
Because,
I'm not sure what to call this. All I know is I could throw myself into the deepest part of it. And just like that, I'm all in. Could listen to you talk about dumb shit you bought on Craigslist till I wither and die. My cheeks hurt from smiling. We sit down in the parking lot under the neon cross and the pipes that look like swastikas. You really only take me to the ugliest places, but that just makes it obvious how beautiful your face is. I think this one's going somewhere, and I wanna see where it's going. I wanna see where this goes, and this one's going somewhere, and I wanna see where it's going. I wanna see where this goes. I don't wanna rush this. Take it slow, take it slow, take it slow. Would be dumb of us to rush in. I got nowhere to be and nowhere to go, so with the gas real slow, slow. Suddenly we're here in aisle 3, both panicking, buying shelves for my new bedroom. It's disgusting and I want to scream my heart right down to you. Sitting right here holding you too. We rode away. I never felt this way. I mean, like, I don't even hate when you call me babe. I think this one's going somewhere, and I wanna see where it's going. I wanna see where this goes, and this one's going somewhere, and I wanna see where it's going. I wanna see where this goes, and this one's
Yeah. Yeah. All right. There it
I like
goes.
that.
Goblin. That's where this goes from Goblin. She's on tour right now. We're gonna have her back on here. We had her early on in the audio version of this show back when it started. This is actually not our first or second week, even though it feels and looks like it because of all the tech issues and the way I look in my
You
face.
look great, man. You look great.
But yeah, we're gonna have some big guests on coming up. I just got confirmation that the Gypsy Kings will be on with us in a week or two.
Nice, man.
And
Good job, man.
who did I tell you, Josh, before? The Dandy
The
Warhols.
Dandy Warhols, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen them. I saw them in Austin several years ago. Always a great show, good band. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of legacy talent, a lot of big bands are coming back around this year, and I, for one, am excited about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man.
be
It's
nice to-
amazing to me how many of those old school legacy acts, as you say, have come back around. Some of them you're like, God, please don't come back, like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue. And then you've got others that you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. I mean, the Eagles are going on their like 8th final tour, and then Kiss is doing another final tour. And I think wasn't Ozzy doing his "Yes, I'm Still Alive" tour? I mean, it's astounding to me.
I saw something very cute. Speaking of that, maybe I should pull it up for you. Phil Collins just did his final.
I saw clips of that. Yeah, that guy, man. I mean, I was rather impressed how much he really pushed through, especially that final show. I mean, it's rough seeing him, the way he is now. But that would have been cool to see, just to be able to say, "Hey, I did catch him."
Yeah, and gosh, I'm trying to find he did a final show, and he came out with his cane and did a bow. And it was such a cute little moment. And I'm trying to find out. I can't find it now. The internet is so big. I can't find what I need. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody else is doing all these Phil Collins memes, and I'm just give me the TikTok. Maybe that's why I should be on TikTok, Josh. Is maybe you could find something like that easy.
Because I was going to say you could probably pull that up. I'd look it up right now for you. But
yeah, you guys can do it on your own time. I want to talk about this plane.
Yes, there we go.
Well, Josh, I don't know if you've heard the news about this random plane that the guy jumped out of it. What's it called? Ejected from the plane. And then the plane flew for another 60 miles before it crashed. Nobody knew where the plane went.
Dude, tell me you have video of that.
I think so. We're going to go on a little trip here. Okay, so we'll talk about the emergency landing. Is this the same plane?
Yeah, the F-35, right? I believe so. If we're talking about the same story, I hope so.
I grabbed the wrong clip here. Hold on. I got a better clip here. Let me just pull it up here. Because well, what had happened was there's 2 clips that came out. The first one was the 911 call, and that's hilarious. And I have to find it because it just came out like right before we started the program tonight, where this dude called 911. He goes, "Yes, hello. There's a pilot that crashed his plane and he's at my door, knocking at my door." And the 911 operator was like, because when you're a 911 operator, you got to follow the book.
Of course.
So she started asking questions like as if he had fallen off of the roof. So, that's the closest thing that she could find in the book. So she's like, "At what height did you fall from?" And the guy's like, 2,000 feet. The funniest audio, but what went
Hopefully
viral?
we'll find that.
I'll see if I can find it here. But what went viral first was there was a guy that when they interview people when news happens, and you never know what you get when you do a on the street interview. And I guess the plane, the F-35, finally crashed somewhere far away, and they found it, and the clip went viral, and I think you'll know why. Watch.
Military officials are still trying to figure out what went wrong when an F-35 jet crashed in South Carolina during a training exercise this week. Now a South Carolina man has gone viral for his description of what that crash sounded like.
It was a horrible sound.
Well, that plane was one of two F-35s flying at 1,000 feet as they came into land when something went wrong. The pilot safely ejected from the $100 million jet, which then crashed into an empty field. Randolph White says he was in his bathroom shaving when he heard the jet pass overhead and crash into the ground.
And I heard the loud screeching sound. And I said, my goodness. Then I heard a boom. And I said, my goodness. I said, the plane flying mighty low. So the thought came to me. I said, well, it might have not a better plane than low. I hope it wasn't something come out of space.
Well, Mr. White's impressive sound media.
Play me the song. Oh, they didn't play me the song. Boom!
Dude, he hits that note. I can't even hit a note like that, man.
I'm sure if you heard it, you could. That guy,
Probably.
that was an on-scene report if I ever seen one in my whole life, man. That is amazing.
That's that good old boy, man. That the brothers always are very descriptive, and then you add the accent from North Carolina. You're gonna get something good, man. That is gold. Anything from the South, and the minute, but without them saying a word, you see their photo, and you're like, I just sit and I pop some popcorn. I'm like, all right, here we go. I know this is gonna be good. It's gonna go far. See? I knew it. I knew it. It's great.
It's times like these you miss the late night talkers doing their jokes around stuff like that, and the morning zoos.
Right. Do people even do little funny bits like that? Like being the ex-radio guy I am, even hearing that, I would make that a part of my show for like 6 months of just doing clip after clip and drop after drop. Like it's made for stuff like that. That becomes the best of drops, right? I don't even know if people do that anymore.
I don't know. It's a lost art, friend. Nobody can do it. There's some shows doing it. I don't want to mention them though, because they're
no.
We'll move on. Hey, but we'll go backwards because I found the 911 call, man. You want to hear it?
Yes. Let's hear this 911 call.
Here, watch this.
We got a pilot at our house, and he says he got ejected. So he ejected from the plane. So we just see if we could get some ambulance, please.
I'm sorry, what happened?
We got a pilot in the house, and I guess he landed in my backyard, and we were trying to see if we could get a ambulance to the house, please.
How old is the patient?
47.
So we had a military jet crash. I'm the pilot. We need to get rescue rolling. I'm not sure where the airplane is. It would have crash landed somewhere. I ejected.
How far did he fall?
I was at 2,000 feet.
Okay, and what caused the fall?
An aircraft failure.
Okay. Okay, is there any
woman.
serious bleeding?
I don't know. I can't see myself.
No, you look fine. You just put it back.
Okay, we're sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line, and I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Do not move unless you're in danger, and do not splint any injuries. And if anything changes, or if you get worse in any way, just call us back immediately for further instructions.
I mean, you could see her reading the script word for word. If anything was that, dude, I feel sorry for her because at first, wouldn't you think somebody's playing a joke on me? Someone's messing with me. All right,
This pilot is such a dummy. All right, because doesn't he have a reporting commander?
I would
He should
assume so.
call that guy calling some random 911 in some city he landed in, going, I crashed, and having the guy that he knocked on the door to, having him do it. Everything was a failure there. And I just think it's so funny because the guy in broken English was like probably answering questions, and then he was like, you talk to her. You know what I mean?
Dude, let me tell you something. I wouldn't have even. I would have been like, I would have started. Say, Why am I talking? You're alive. You're here. Is the victim? I am the victim. I fell out of a plane. What do you think? I'm not messing with you. What? Why are you asking me these stupid questions? But dude, coming from a military, I assume Air Force or whatever this is, you're right. There seems like there would have been a protocol that he contact someone from the base or something before you do that. I would assume he shouldn't have really have even called 911. He should have did the
You
certain
know,
steps, right?
I think they cut out the part. There was a part where he goes, "Ma'am, were there any reports of a plane crash?" And she's like, "No," because the thing flew 60 miles out of town and crashed in a field
North Carolina.
way far, like a state away or something.
Dude, I'm curious. So was he just thinking, "Oh my God, this plane is going to crash right now and I'm out," and then 60 miles later, like I would love to be able to interview the pilot and go, "At what point did you realize, okay, maybe I didn't hear the plane crash?" Right? Wouldn't you have heard or seen your plane crash while you ejected? I mean, right? You should have or heard something.
I've never been in that situation, but you know who's going to get the interview? The FAA and the government. And we'll watch it on C-SPAN when it comes out because that sounds fascinating. You know what I mean? Sir, what were you
Dude, I
thinking?
want to know. Well, yeah,
You know?
why did you just up and split? I mean, was
Why did
there
you call your boss? Why'd you call 911? And then she's like, "Are you bleeding?" And he goes, "I don't know. I can't look at myself." And then the dude's like, "No, no, you're fine. Just some scratches, man." You
You
know what I
did
mean?
good, man. Orderly. You fine, dog. You're all right.
That family's probably like, "That was the most exciting thing that happened in a long time." They're like, "You never believe what's going to happen to me."
Dude, nobody's gonna believe me.
Guy fell out of the sky. I had to call the feds on him.
Dude, and poor Mexican dude too. I'm sure he's like, "No, dog, we don't need government here. We're cool, man."
Yeah, you
Please, go to the white people's house.
backyard. So funny.
My God, that's great.
Well, since we're on the topic of viral videos, there's one that I'm sure you've seen. It's where the interview lady makes the little boy cry, where he starts laughing. "Are you gonna miss your mom?" It starts crying. Well, they had a little reunion of sorts. So take a look at what I'm about to show you here. It's cute. It will warm your heart. Here it comes.
I remember about 8 years ago, a local preschooler became an internet sensation on his first day of school, thanks to our own reporter, Courtney Friel, who made him cry.
Since then, that video clip really has been viewed millions of times. It has been turned into memes in different languages. And recently, it caught the eye of Netflix executives.
And Courtney caught up with the little boy who's almost a teenager now in tonight's entertainment report.
Hi there. Andrew Macias and I have kept in touch over the years since we became internet famous on his first day of school in 2015. His family now lives in Omaha, and he just started the 7th grade.
Andrew, are you excited for pre-kindergarten?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Are you going to miss your mom?
No.
No? Oh, don't cry. Are you?
Even though he's almost 13 and left LA for Nebraska, Andrew Macias may never live down that classic KTLA moment.
Does everyone recognize you from the meme that has been created thousands of times?
Yeah. Everybody says, "Are you the kid that came out on the TV crying?"
Are you terrified of your first day of school now, always?
No.
How many people ask you, "Are you going to miss your mom?"
Like my friends.
With our interaction being viewed tens of millions of times, the promo team for the new Spy Kids Armageddon movie thought we could help them out.
Wait a second. They think mom and dad are spies. You think?
What are we doing today?
We're gonna recreate the viral moment.
We even matched up our original outfits.
Andrew, are you excited for a new Spy Kids movie?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
What would you do if you found out your parents were spies? Oh no, don't cry.
I'll be a spy kid too.
Since we caused this whole game apocalypse, we have to stop the bad guys and save the world.
I think we're going to be connected for life now.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll have to talk with you again on your first day of college.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Wait, why are there so many of them?
It's more fun that way.
Spy Kids starts streaming on Netflix on September 22nd. With your entertainment report, I'm Courtney Friel.
Oh, that's today.
Ooh.
Let's watch some Spy Kids. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I would want Courtney to consistently call me. I'd tell all my buddies, dude, she's coming by. She's looking good. She is absolutely a smoke show. That kid, he's not. What is wrong with these young kids today, man? I would have been like, she wants to stay in touch, and she's talking about seeing me in college. Dude, I'm the coolest kid ever. I mean, why? He was just playing it so coy. Now he's doing Spy Kids stuff, dude. He's famous. Barry, we gotta come up with something to go viral. We got to do something. I'm telling you.
What is going on here with this stuff, man? You know what I mean? Like they have great ideas, and here we are without any great ideas.
Not an idea to be said or had. Ridiculous.
It's a freaking bummer, dude.
See, I was pulling the kid. I bet his buddies busted his balls. You gonna cry, you little girl?
You're gonna miss your mom.
Mommy, gonna suck your thumb, baby.
Oh. Well, let's go back to another moment here with bring the vacationing Joe back in and talk about some lawns here, okay, on Night Sounds. All right. Okay. Well, I'm more interested in things like this. This lady here, this is her front lawn. For those of you watching, you can see it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
This woman in Kentucky has made herself a natural lawn, and the whole town is in uproar because it's not grass. And
does she have an HOA?
I think so. I mean, isn't Kansas a state an HOA?
Oh, okay. Barry wins for the best quip of the first hour. Way to go, Barry. Good job. Yes. All right. That wins. Yes, Kansas is an entire HOA. Go for it.
I mean, come on. What's wrong with her front lawn there? You guys can see it. Let's take some more pictures here. She's got some native bees, some native flowers there. She's taking all these pictures. Most of there's all her neighbors' garden lawns. You see how they're all cut grass?
Yes, they're all curated and
boring.
Nice and boring.
Very
I agree.
very Tim Burton-esque.
Just
Look,
takes
it's
up all
not,
this.
look, okay. I don't think her lawn's that bad because even though it is wild, she still kind of trims it back, and it's not like it's overgrown and looks terrible. It looks nice, just not like a manicured lawn. It doesn't look like you can play golf on it, but I want to go hang out in there and see all her plants. Oh, that's a really pretty flower. What is that? What's this
I don't know.
bell-looking flower that was up there? That was nice.
Yeah, there's this one. Yeah, it's
yeah. See, that one, a flower like that would be perfect for like hummingbirds and things. Like, I would really enjoy hanging out in this woman's yard. So I want to support her.
You're not that guy that would knock on her door and say, "Ma'am, you're attracting all of the, I don't know, squirrels."
Yes, I would be the guy that says you're lowering my property value. You need to do something about this. This is outrageous.
I would do, but you can't do that in America anymore. Well, you can't go over and knock on your neighbor's door. You'll get shot. They're not even going to answer the door. They're just going to shoot you. That's what happens in America today. What if you knew the neighbor? I wouldn't do it for the lawn. I would do it for the random toilet or the car on the blocks or the 5 cars on the blocks that are in the front yards. That's when I would do it. But for an overgrown yard like that, HOAs just have way, way too much time on their hands because that should not lower property value if someone just wants to rewild their lawn. It's not like having couches out there and
in a ton of cars I get that. I think from a real estate point of view, though, I would be that guy, though, that still is like, all right, look, Sanford and Son vegetative life here. You need to just
Yeah,
relax.
yeah. You know what? For Josh, it's more about the hippies that live next door. that
Yeah,
bother
you
me.
know the hippies.
Damn dirty hippies.
Damn hippies, get off my lawn.
Well,
What's
let me
that
show you.
smell?
Let me show you how it's supposed to work. Here it is in New Jersey. They're doing a lot with natural lawns. Listen and watch.
Suburbanites love their lawns, but what's the cost of carpet-like perfection?
If you want to try to kill every single weed and every single dandelion, you can do that, but it comes at a price, and the price is polluted water.
Doug Wood maintains his Port Washington lawn naturally with low nitrogen fertilizer and no pesticides. He convinced neighbors on his block to ditch high nitrogen chemicals too. Now he's handing out hundreds of lawn signs, trying to change the culture island-wide because our lawn products end up here.
When it rains, half of what you paid for is going to wash down the street, and then it's going to go into the bay, and then you're going to have an algae bloom, or you're going to have fish kills, and people scratch their heads and say, I don't understand. Why is the beach closed again?
The natural lawn is easier than you may think, often with better results. You can mow less and grow grass longer, 2.5 to 3 inches, to naturally shade out weeds. Water longer and less frequently to grow healthier grass with deeper roots. Pour boiling water on driveway and crevice weeds. At Bayless Garden Center, natural products are outselling chemicals.
People say that organics are more expensive. They're not, because you're using less fertilizers because they last longer.
The Woods insist they're not sacrificing anything.
What am I sacrificing? I have a beautiful green lawn. I know that my neighbors and their kids and their pets can play on my lawn. A beautiful natural lawn is mostly grass with a little bit of clover and some little bit of weed pressure in it, because that's what makes the whole ecosystem work.
And this natural lawn is taking root for all to see right in front of the public library in Port Washington, Long Island. Carolyn Gussoff, CBS 2 News.
The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation encourages natural lawn care, saying it's been practiced for much longer than chemical lawn care and can easily be implemented anywhere.
Yeah. So
you want me to take advice from a New Yorker? Who the hell do you think you are? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Wait, is that where Port Washington is? Is that in New York?
I guess so.
It was in Long Island, yeah.
In Long Island? Okay. Because I was going to say, that is definitely somewhere where they have rain and have these things. Joe, tell me if you've heard of them, something called seasons. I'm not
oh my
familiar
gosh.
with them. It's Texas, because we have brown, really brown, and fried. And we're like on stage 4 water. If you spill a glass of water, you'll get fined. Yeah. It's very difficult for me to watch stuff like that because I don't know what that's like. I don't know what it's like to have a really green lawn. I get the organic stuff. I think, if that was my option, right? Yeah, I'm an animal lover, dog. I wouldn't want my dog or my neighbor's dog, catching something or a river or whatever. So that makes, for that neck of the woods, I guess, and probably you guys in California, I mean, it sounds like it makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
No, man, I am all about, and I wish that the city would do this more. We don't need lawns. They are really water intensive. And we have this problem in California that some of you might know about. It's called drought. And we have this river called the Colorado River that 7 states want to share. And California, we're kind of jerks about it because we take a lot of it. But we need to use less. And it does not strike me as a good reason to use water just so you can have a green patch of grass in front of your house that 90% of people never use. So it doesn't make that much sense to me. Rewild it, let it go, or plant like native plant species and stuff that'll help the bees and birds and butterflies and stuff.
I'm going to settle the score right now for the 3 of us, man. And I'm going to outnumber Josh 2 against 1. No lawns. no grass.
No lawns.
Wow.
I
No
don't
lawns.
care.
Yes. Okay.
I don't care. Yeah, you ain't gonna see me with a lawnmower sitting there sweating. Vroom, dum, 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 dum. No, thank you. All right.
Just give me natural California landscapes and stuff. We got butterflies migrating right now, and they need natural landscapes to help them get through to Mexico, yo. So we need to get rid of these grasses. We need more water. Yeah, because we got to conserve our water.
All right.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
Okay. All right. All right. The score has been settled. Now, if you're watching and listening to Night Sounds, it's live. And if you want to catch us next time, make sure you subscribe below to the YouTube channel. Or, I don't know how to do on the Facebook or the Twitter. You can do that. And if you'd like to interact with the program, come on the show with us. Just send us a message wherever you're listening from. We'll bring you on the program. You need a camera? You don't need a camera? It's all good. We'll just have you on the show. And that offer still stands, even though I'm filled with phlegm. On Night Sounds, at the top of the hour, we're going to have Jasmine Royce on. She is from Tranquility magazine, a little after the top of the hour. And we'll talk about her magazine and everything that she has going on in her world of betterment, better helpment.
Tranquil, breathe. Yes, I
Yes.
get it. I get it.
Please and thank you. Do all of the things. Okay, well, yeah, Josh, there's been some news since the Halloween season is fast approaching. People are already putting stuff up on their front lawns. Murder, gore is popping up. Skeletons are...
It's a big deal, no matter where you're at. I'm always curious about HOAs and neighborhoods without an HOA. You can always tell the difference because there is a small amount of stuff, right, for Halloween decor, and then the ones without HOAs are just above and beyond. Some of them are super satanic, look like Rammstein concerts, and they're just all over the place. And then two houses down, it's rainbows and little cute little stuff. But there's some controversy I heard. I'm guessing in a non-HOA neighborhood, or maybe HOA neighborhood. I'm not sure.
Well, it's in your neck of the woods. Let's learn together here. Watch.
Oh.
Check this out. It's hilarious. Whoops. Hold on here. Hold on. I'm trying my best here, everybody. Here we go.
This is just decorations for fun. It's not real Jesus. These are foam props that I made. I'm very sorry if this hurt anyone, if this caused anyone to feel sad.
Bucktown resident Vic Miorana is known each year for his elaborate Halloween decorations, but people say this year's display might have gone too far.
I feel like it's disrespectful to the people that believe in Jesus.
The display depicts what appears to be a beheaded Jesus held in the hands of the devil, surrounded by nuns and a priest.
If the people find it offensive, let them bypass this neighborhood.
Is it protected under free speech? Yeah, but does that make it right? That's my real question. And would you do this with another religion? Because I don't think you would.
Since the post went viral, Mariana says he and his then girlfriend parted ways after she received numerous threats about losing her job.
My girlfriend of 3 years has been harassed and online bullied with her and her family business. And due to that, she asked me to have this removed.
Do you see yourself ever taking it down?
Absolutely not.
Well, there you go, man.
He pretty much straight up said, "Everybody can kiss my ass. It's not going anywhere." This is
his girlfriend over it, man. His girlfriend's out of here. It's me. I'm getting death threats. I'm losing my job. You got to take this down. And he said, "Nope, staying up."
Sorry, sweetie. I'm not going to take it down. You got to think about it from this point of view. Were they really a good couple? My theory is that there was a lot of fights and stuff going on. This was just the straw that broke the camel's back, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
What do you think about this, man?
I think it's funny that it's a split decision there, and it's in Texas, so there's a lot of people that are looking at this saying that's sacrilegious, and then there's
Oh, it's incredibly sacrilegious. I mean, that's with it. That goes without saying. It's incredibly sacrilegious. Having said that, though, yes, it does fall under freedom of speech. Now, also saying that, I could tell his neighborhood is redneck as hell, and it's not part of an HOA. And guess what? You got a lot of Bible beaters out there that love Jesus, but also love guns and also love tearing stuff down and starting fights and calling them death threats. But you know what? I think that dude looks like he welcomes a fight. You know, I think he's like, okay, I'm going to keep it up. Why? You know where I live? Obviously, it's the one with Jesus beheaded and demons around. It's
yeah,
I'm that guy.
come on down. I'll be here waiting for you.
You know, me personally, look, yeah, I find it incredibly offensive. I think it's incredibly sacrilegious. But guess what? Since I don't need to live next to it, what do I care? If I had to drive next to it the whole time, I would just probably say stuff under my breath and keep moving on. I have never been the type of guy that would go out of my way to go, I'm going to get that down right now. I mean,
but you do have some strong opinions on it. You don't like it. You
I
wish
do.
they did.
No, I don't think. I think that's incredibly disrespectful. And that guy made a good point. What if it's a bunch of Muslims? What if you did Mohammed out there? What if you went ahead and flipped the script and did something like that? I guarantee you the rednecks wouldn't care. They're like, man, that's Osama bin Laden. It's okay. And they would think about it. But the guy made the very good point. I mean, what if it was another religion? Um, did the guy do it for controversy? Absolutely. Does he give a damn? Absolutely not. Does he care who it offends? No. I don't think he's sorry. I think he should have just said, no, I'm not sorry. I did it. It's a part of who I am. It's covered under freedom of speech. I don't pay HOA dues. So guess what? You got to live with it. You don't like it? Come by and talk to me. You want to fight about it? Let's do that too and be done with it.
What a hill to die on, though, Josh. You know, like his life's I mean, I would like to assume that he's got everything in order. He's got enough spending cash to make the thing.
Yeah,
you know,
he looks I'm dying to know what he does.
I want to know what his girlfriend did. How she had her job, man. Where's she working?
Yeah, but judging by that guy, I would have guessed she was probably a bartender, you know, or probably some hostess somewhere at the Chili's. But
All
this is
in construction. I guarantee they're in construction.
yes. Oh, that's a good point. Or somewhere in real estate. She's the girl that answers all the phones. Get all the Jesus freaks calling up, and very controversial. He's like, well, sorry, sweetie. You know, find myself a devil worshiper.
You're gonna have to keep an eye on this for me there locally, though, because
absolutely, yeah, I am dying to know. Because you know what? Just because he said he's not taking it down doesn't mean that something's not going to keep coming up. That you know he'll be forced to take it down. There are people that if you offend the wrong type of people, that you know take that type of religious thing incredibly seriously. Guess what? They know lawyers. They know guys with money. They're one way or another, they could figure something out. So I'm definitely. What part of Texas did that story come from? Do you know?
I don't know. Around you, it was on the station that you're on.
Okay, I'm gonna figure that. I'm gonna figure out that, and I'm gonna stay on top of that story because I'm dying to know. This is not the end. I know for a fact there is no way that this story is just going to be swept under the rug.
Exclusive interview
Ooh,
for
dude, I'll do it for the show, man. Say, you know,
head on down there and knock on the door.
Yeah, I'm gonna knock on the door. You nuts? You saw the size of that guy. Yeah, I'm gonna say, look, well, let's take Jesus off. Let's put Osama on. Let's see what. Put them both up there. Oh,
yeah, equal opportunity, equal offense.
Yeah, equal offensive. That's right.
Up there. Get Mr. Buddha also. Put him up there.
Oh, that's right. Do the chick with the 8 arms from India. Let's add her. Let's add her on there. Yeah, let's add all the religious figures. Oh,
the guy with the eye. You know, got the eye.
The guy with an eye? Who's that?
You know, the guy with the chest. All those guys, whoever.
We'll write a list of religious figures and we'll just add them all to it and say, come on, if you're going to offend religion, let's just go down the list and offend everybody. Sure, why not?
Head on down to the Spirit Halloween store with your list and see if
here's
they
what
get
I
offended.
mean. Do you have a Buddha with his guts hanging out. You know, they're like, what?
Oh, we're all out of those, but they're coming in next Tuesday. It's a hot
Yeah,
item.
that's a hot one. The beheaded Mohammed. That's another hot item. Yeah, they take that real serious, dude. You saw what they almost did to the South Park guys, man. The FBI came knocking on their door.
Crazy.
It's nuts, man. The battle of religion gets violent all the time.
We could just get the hell out of here, like we were talking about last week, taking an airplane out of town. There's some great news for you, Josh.
Oh, okay.
You want to hear it?
Yes, I love good news, man.
I like to hear it. Here it go. Here.
It's Destination Deutschland. San Antonio officials announced the airport getting its first transatlantic flight into Europe.
The seasonal flights by Condor will connect the Alamo City with the busy hub of Frankfurt, Germany. Garrett Berger has your travel plans and more on what the city hopes will now take off.
San Antonio and to Frankfurt.
It's news that has city leaders feeling fantastisch.
Simply said, San Antonio International Airport has arrived on the world stage.
The director of airports says it's estimated more than 300 Europe-bound travelers left San Antonio International every day in the summer of 2022. And in the past 2 years, he says a majority of travelers are going to Germany.
So that's one of the biggest reasons it was very attractive to want to move in that direction.
The route will be a seasonal one, running less than 4 months between mid-May and early September. 3 flights a week in either direction with 310 seats on each.
So how much would it cost you? We looked it up on Condor's website, and a Friday to Friday round trip on that first week would cost you less than $1,000 for the cheapest tickets.
It's an option that would have been appealing for Barbara Elbrock, had she known about it before she and her traveling group decided on a nonstop flight out of Austin.
Although it is a pain to go to Austin, there's no doubt, because you have to go ahead and do the truck up to Austin.
Travel agent Alice Petrie hopes flyers fill up these new flights.
That way we'll keep it and also, maybe attract some more nonstop flights.
And the airport has eyes on other parts of Europe.
Obviously, trying to get into Spain, trying to get into London, trying to get into Paris, all of those are very leisure, very attractive markets, along with what we have with Frankfurt, Germany, with Condor.
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Yeah, so we can head on out to
Okay, first off, Frankfurt, Germany. Why the hell would I ever want to go to Frankfurt, Germany?
of all places to start. Let's go to Germany, everybody.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Out of all your European destinations that you want to bring to your international airport, you somehow landed on Frankfurt, Germany, only for a couple of months because the guy was saying, well, we'll do Spain. It's predominantly Hispanics. That should have been number one, first and foremost, not Frankfurt, Germany. You should have done Spain first. Let's do London. Let's do all these other. It's like how. Now, I think if I heard him correct, he said that there are a good amount of, I think he said individuals that want to fly to Germany out of San Antonio. That seems unlikely. I don't know where he got his numbers. I just think in a town that is predominantly Hispanic and you want to be international, why wouldn't you choose Spain first? Why wouldn't you choose, literally everything? Now, Austin is, the good old, that lady, she's like, when I make my trek up to Austin, we all do
And
it.
they're all. Did you see that Lady Barbara they interviewed? Behind her, there was sandals and beaches.
Yeah.
And those are like, aren't those the 2 resorts that don't like gay people and have all these restrictions?
She's like, yeah, well, you come over here too. We appeal to everybody. I just don't understand the Frankfurt, Germany thing. I don't know why, of course, our hippie.
Got to be a
liberal
backdoor
man-
handshake, man.
It's got, dude. It honestly, Barry, it's got to be. I just don't understand why they would somehow land on that from an international standpoint. Then suddenly, well, we'll worry about Paris, London, like these places people would actually want to travel to. It's just, of course, it would be my city. I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on locally there, but I'm sure that for years they were talking about making an international airport, and then they finally got Germany on. Well, Germany will come here. All right, let's make a big deal out of it.
Right? Oh, we're officially that. And what is Condor? I've never heard of this airplane. I know
Well,
it's
who
a
wants to
bird.
fly? I mean, no offense to San Antonio, but like all these international flights, they all have their destinations. You know what I mean?
Of
What's the
course.
closest one? Is it Austin? I'm sure you can fly out of Austin,
Yeah,
get
you can
somewhere.
absolutely fly out of Austin. A lot of the time, people will have to go to Austin, or really, depending where you're going, you almost have to go San Antonio to Dallas or San Antonio to Houston, and then you wind up traveling typically to New York and then New York to wherever you're going for Europe. Austin has a little more, which to me, we're way bigger than Austin. So I find that incredibly, someone in San Antonio has been dropping the ball. And the fact that they finally landed on one good international flight to Frankfurt, I
I
don't know
think
if
we
we should
should
be
take
throwing a
advantage of
party.
it.
What, you want
Josh,
to go to Frankfurt?
I think we should go to Frankfurt. I mean, did you see it was under $1,000 round trip? You know what I
Then
mean?
that
Like,
the cheapest was under a G.
yeah.
I mean, we're going to end up
Isn't
in
that
the
pretty
back
good?
with the dogs and cats. I mean,
That's okay. Isn't that pretty good to get to another country though? I don't
that's
know.
not bad. No, I mean, you're right. That's not bad. It's Frankfurt. I mean, I guess we could go have some beer and a brat.
No, dude.
And
We hop on the train. We're going to Amsterdam. No
oh, well,
question.
okay. All right. Well, now you're talking. We've got to go to Amsterdam. See,
We
but
can
right
take that
there's
train
another
everywhere,
flight.
man.
Why
Zip,
not? Why
zap,
not
zip.
Denmark? See, oh, yeah, you're right, dude. Because Europe is all about that, right? The
Germany
trams. You
might be
take the
like
train.
it's like a bus station. Germany. You know what I mean? Like you're there for a minute, you're waiting for the train, and then you gotta go to a better town. Maybe I don't know. There's probably girls in dresses and skirts that hoop de hoop, and they
With the
have big
little hoot
beers.
hoot hoot.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oktoberfest, maybe
German
that's the reason they're doing it.
Yeah, but isn't Oktoberfest like something stupid? Not in October. It's like in like February or it's
Yeah, I
October.
think it's
What month?
isn't it going on now? I think it's going
Yeah,
on now.
it's like September
Like
or
it's
something.
September or something. It's not even in October, which is just typical of the way the States. They're like, well, we'll fit it in when the weather's better.
Don't make
Everything's
no
done
damn sense.
around weather. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was watching your news. You still have a few days of 100 degrees here in California. It's nice finally. So
Really.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Way to throw that in there. Yeah, no, we got a couple more days. Well, probably a couple more weeks, and then it'll finally calm down. But they set the almanac stated that we're going to have probably one of the coldest winters that we've had in quite a while, which I'm not looking forward to because that means I'm going to have to put up with quite possibly, power going down and no one knowing how to ride a damn car in snow or flurries or anything. And that's just going to be a nightmare.
Hey, man, why don't you just prepare for winter, man? You know how to make a fire? You got a
I,
fireplace?
I got a fireplace.
What else do you need, man?
I'm
You
gonna
got
be
a big
fine.
old. You got a coat hanger, the metal coat hanger. You can put a
Yeah,
marshmallow on top of that thing.
just pretend I'm camping in my condo. Just
Yeah, you got a what's that called?
s'mores.
What's that pan that the cowboys use to cook their eggs in the morning on the fire? That
The
thing.
little, yeah. Okay. Well, if power goes out, yeah, this time, no, you're right.
Yeah, just pretend you don't got power, man. You're fine. You'll be fine. Just
I'm gonna be all
ventilation
right.
is key. Don't just smoke yourself out.
That's right. Ventilation. I did learn there's apparently an opening you have to do before you ride a
Yes.
bike. If not, it's gonna whoosh.
Sounds like
Turn
we've all
into
learned
a. Trust me, we've all
Why
learned
isn't
that
this
lesson.
lighting? Why is it smoky in here? Why is this wrong?
What
Oh,
is going on? Oh, there's an opening. Oh,
it's a flute. I think that's what it's called, a flute.
yeah, flute. Yes, sir.
Thing. Well, anyway, so we're gonna have Jasmine on here. Josh, expect a lot more guests coming up because we're gonna probably double book a lot of nights that we're on together with some
Yeah,
guests.
we should.
I guess we did today with Chaser coming in, our media expert.
I did. I always like when he comes on. I wish I would have had more of a chance to talk to him because a lot of good stuff is happening in Vegas. Next week is the Sphere officially opens up for the U2 thing. And they've finally have started releasing video of inside to see what it looks like. And Barry, let me tell you, so if you haven't taken a look at that, it is I can't wait to see what a live concert is like. They have F1 coming up here pretty soon, but this weekend is a pretty large music festival. My brother flew out there. He goes every year for this thing. I think All Things Are Beautiful Fest. Tons of rock, hip hop, EDM, a few country, a lot of pop. And they take it up. So this weekend's going to be banging in Vegas. So I would have loved to have talked to him. I just want to learn more about this Sphere. I mean, I see stuff online but I'm really curious to know how great is it in person, and I want to see more video from inside this thing. It's astounding, man.
Oh, you will. I mean, I'm sure of it. I want to tell. We'll have Chase on Monday's show. Probably. We'll ask him about that because that's interesting. We should have him go over there with the camera.
Yeah, yeah. I want to definitely learn more about that. I found it interesting too that U2's already over there testing, and they did an impromptu concert at the Fremont, right in the middle of in Vegas, well, Old Town Vegas. There they were. They apparently shot a music video there, and then they did just a whole set for free. U2 free in downtown Vegas. I mean, that's astounding to me.
I bet you people are just walking by like, there's a really good U2 cover band right there. How
Hey,
about
those guys sound pretty good. And then you see it like, oh my God, that's Bono.
he looks just like him.
A
little older.
Well, and dude, you know what? You're right, because in Vegas, right? They
You
all
would
do the
never
people that
expect
look,
the
you
original.
never know. I'd be like, wow, those guys are really good.
Those guys, they passed, man. What's your Instagram?
Yeah, you too. No, really, what is
No,
it?
like YOU? Yeah, that's really fun, man. And I understand because what's that called? Neonopolis? I think that's what that's sort of the original dome down there
Yeah.
in Old Town Vegas. We'll ask Chase all about it coming up Monday on the Prog. Now, every city has their little gag. Vegas has 12 of them. Now they have the Sphere. Camarillo has the Camarillo house where I live, where it's the founder. His house is over there, and you can walk around in it. I don't know if you have one in San Antonio. Just like in Riverside, there's a tree, an orange tree that has a gate around it, and a statue plate that says this was the first orange tree to ever be planted.
Okay.
Tourist
I'm sure there
thing.
is. Yeah, probably.
We'll have to find out. But up in Sacramento, there's a new one, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny here. Watch
the colorful rocks in the boat area section of I-5 going through Sacramento downtown. We also had some questions here at ABC 10, so our Jordan Tolbert got the answers.
Well, good morning. I've heard a lot of people refer to them as those purple rocks on I-5, but Caltrans says they're actually pieces of blue recycled glass. And they look kind of purple when light hits them. In fact, Caltrans loaned me this one so you could see for yourself.
If you've driven along I-5 through Sacramento near J Street lately, you may have noticed something new. A colorful cityscape along the freeway, and these fist-sized pieces of recycled glass in the separators.
Thought they were pretty. I thought, wow, for the Kings. I associated with the rocks with the Kings. So I don't know, just thought they were nice.
I think a lot of people, particularly representatives of the Sacramento Kings and their fan, are pretty excited to see purple, but just happens to be the way that the sun glances off of them.
It's part of the Clean California initiative to beautify the interstate.
Interstate 5 really does serve as a gateway to the downtown core area of Sacramento for visitors and residents alike.
Murphy says the blue glass ties into the river theme, and the glass is a low-cost and low-maintenance way to make the side of the freeway look nicer.
There were clear colored glass pieces that were part of the separators early on, but we have replaced those with the blue colored rocks to go along with sort of the river theme of the Interstate 5 boat area.
And there are a few Clean California projects happening within District 3 right now. Some off of and some on freeways like this one on I-5, and a 9-mile project along Highway 99, which includes the pedestrian overcrossings in South Sacramento.
Because I also noticed on the freeway on 99 that the new rails or gates, whatever you want to call them, are painted like, I think, yellow and blue, and I think that looks kind of pretty.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, well, I think it's okay. Josh, listen, I don't know if you've ever been to Sacramento, but it is a very ugly town. I drove through it.
Okay, no.
And I was like, boy, this is the state capital. It is. It looks like trash, man. It's a pile. And so now, in the beautification process, they put a bunch of purple glass in the middle. Okay, let's put glass on the freeway. No problem. That won't injure any tires or mess anything up.
That's going to turn out great. Someone thought, boy, this is really pretty. Let's put recycled
They're just like,
glass.
what's the cheapest thing we can put there? Purple glass? Let's do it.
Hey, it looks good when the sun hits it. Hey, it's cheap. It's not going to interrupt our budget, Oh, sure, why not? That is going to come back around and haunt them. I guarantee you. And you're right. Sacramento doesn't seem like for California, that's known, in all these commercials you see, come visit California. We've got our surf and mountains. And then you see Sacramento, your state capital, and you're like, really? That's the state capital?
I don't know. Maybe it's just what I saw, but man, I was like, this is it? This is a gross part of the world.
Yeah, no, Austin, as the state capital of Texas, it was not the prettiest. It was always known as the college town, right? But now time has changed, and it's a lot of Dell moved there and started bringing a lot of money, and then Microsoft and a lot of these these California got techies, so everything is super big.
Yes, I know what you're saying.
Buildings that are in the way, and I think it's bizarre. Almost.
Oh boy, there goes the internet. Well,
think of any city out there. Most of them are pretty ugly. Says a lot about power.
Yep, it does. Boy, you just fell over. Elon just snipped our cable. They've had enough internet for today. We are going to buffer Josh from now on. Buffer. Shadow ban. These two folks are having trouble communicating. You dropped out for a second, Josh.
Yeah, dude. I don't know why this thing started buffering out of nowhere, man. Sorry about that.
Hey, man. It's all right. Well, in a couple minutes here, we're going to have Jasmine on the program from Tranquility magazine. And I think Monday we're going to talk to CJ Barkis. He's in a party band. He's a real fun guy. And we'll dive deep into how it is being in a band in 2023 in Southern California and trying to make some money at it. I got some questions, man, but it's going to be a fun time. But right now, let's play you a song from another artist that we interviewed a while ago, and we're going to have her back. She's up in Detroit, I think. She's on tour right now. Get sexy. Because get sexy, Josh.
I like it.
Here comes Afros and Yaya on Night Sounds. Here, listen.
Traveling to where you are, where I could let go and be free, babe. Meet me underneath the stars. Never need to worry about a thing, babe. There's a sparkle in your eye, cosmic, uniquely your own, babe. Gravity has been defied. Ain't a thing holding us down, babe. Ain't a thing holding us down, babe. Ain't a thing. In the secret in your eyes, where the moon and stars come to unite. Make it through my hands, oh, testify. 'Cause you really make me come alive. You give a love that's so sweet. It's straight up fire otherworldly. And with you here next to me, I don't need to worry about a thing, babe. So meet me up in the sky, where I can let go and be free, babe. Gravity has been defied. Ain't a thing holding us down, babe. Ain't a thing holding silence till I drown out the sound. Never felt so high until I'd been so low. Never knew I could fly until I let my fears go. Left alone, been left for dead. Stayed up for nights with worries going round in my head. Seen them come, seen them go. Some told me why, and others I'll never know. You walk a long road, takes a long time. Some things go on forever, some are gone in the blink of an eye. Just when you think it's the end, everything starts again. We can't go on living and pretend, 'cause everything starts again. Yeah, everything starts again. Ooh. Never knew love until it left me behind. Didn't care for it much then, but now she's still on my mind. Never know why people do what they do. Can't live your life for anybody but you, that's true. Walk a long road, takes a long time. Things go on forever, some are gone in the blink of an eye. Just when you think it's the end, everything starts again. You can't go on living and pretend, 'cause everything starts again. Yeah, everything starts again. Yeah. When you think it's the end, everything starts again. You can't go on living and pretend, 'cause everything starts again. Yeah, everything starts again. 'Cause everything starts again. Yeah, everything starts again.
And on your social media, Barry Funkhauser here with Josh. And look at our guest today below us. It's Jasmine.
All right.
Hi. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Finally got some beauty on this show. Bunch of dudes normally on it. Big frat house.
Ooh, party on. Well,
Not really.
I'm
Not
just
really.
here to make comical jokes and then talk about projects. But yeah, I'm delighted to be here on your night evening broadcast. So I'm looking forward to your evening timeline. I'm ready for winter already.
You're ready for winter already.
Yeah,
Well,
I have to keep it spooky.
ooh, look at
Ooh,
the
there we
very
go.
nice drinking tea and everything.
Is
It's
there
spooky.
honey in that tea, though? Barry, I'm sure-
Absolutely.
Okay.
I
Barry,
love
there
honey.
you go.
You
There you
know,
go.
I think it's from Barry's farm or his location. It's actually Barry's honey. So I scored on that one.
Really? So you've actually, so I always thought when he talked about this whole honey thing, he was just trying to be cool.
Oh.
I didn't actually know he actually had honey, and someone is actually having this honey. So I'm rather
Yes.
impressed now.
Well, it was
What do you think? I
also
do
my
this for my health, Josh? You
Uh-huh.
think
I don't know,
just
man. You know,
sitting
people
here
have weird hobbies. Who knows?
Yeah, at least people have hobbies. I've met people that don't have any hobbies. So yeah, the honey, I think it's classic that you have to have honey as a sugar replacement. So I enjoy the idea that honey is the classic alternative, and Barry has his own supply. So every time I'm in need of honey, I know who to call. And he gave it to me as also a birthday present. So I appreciate it as a gift. But I've
Wow.
seen the
Yeah.
bees in the wild. You have to dress in all white and get prepared. No perfume, which I have an affection for perfume, so I have to be careful about that. But
Yeah, Jasmine and I go way back. She's been in the field with me playing with the honeybees in the past. It's all
Ooh.
part of
Mhm.
being out in the nature and being tranquil, which is
Yes.
basically what you're doing with this magazine. Now, catch us up with this new
Okay.
project that you have going on. So you're doing an online magazine with the podcast, right?
Yeah, so it is a magazine format for a podcast, and it's also geared about transitioning and aging wisely. So this is an informative lecture based or people's experiences on their own journey to talk about what they've achieved and what they learned by it. And it's a very informative way of looking at the way you're gonna age in life. So taking care of your health, your body, your mind, your spirit, all these activities will help you gracefully age. And so in that, we have a really great nutritionist that does nutritionist recipes. We have a Zen area that does meditation and exercise workouts, and then what they are and explaining them. Also, we do things that are like mindful habits or how to create a daily routine that keeps you consistent. And then we have another department that more focuses on gardening, which is Funk's very favorite. You know, Barry Funkenhauser always has a garden. My father is a horticulturist, hence my name. It's Jasmine. And so, focusing on having an indoor garden or growing tiny herbs in your tiny house so that you have space for something that blooms and you have the option to use it in your, recipes or anything you make. And then we have a pampering department, which is more focused on organic and wise products for your face and your body, because what you place on your skin goes in your body. So, you want to make sure that you're not placing something toxic on you. So, it's a great informative magazine, and the podcast is a lot of interviews by amazing educated people that have experienced a beautiful life, and they give you some feedback on failures, achievements, and lessons learned, and always we start off with their mantra. So it's a
I
fun one.
I like the idea. So do you cover pretty much for anybody of all ages, men and women, maybe gentlemen of a certain age that want to continue to look younger than my age really is? Stuff like that.
We always have to, take care of ourselves to age like we haven't aged at all. So that's also why nutrition is important, health is important. But it started out originally when I was thinking that women would be more inclined to read this, and my demographic was focused on women. But I realized that it transitioned in a way that we are privileged to live in Los Angeles, where everybody's kind of a little bit health minded. But men also are interested in the recipes, advice on their own. We have, pedicures for men that want to take care of themselves. I know I've been and seen, men take care of themselves in a better way now. So they're always involved. And most of my interviews involve men and women. So we kind of trans the gender plateau in a way that everybody is open to, enjoying the content. It's all free, so that's great. And so, we just want people to be happy and enjoy life. So
I like
whoever
the free part. That's my second favorite four-letter F word, so I'm all about that. Speaking from the man point of view too, there was probably a time when I was much younger that I mean, I wouldn't have paid attention to any of this. I've had some health issues throughout my life that, unfortunately, once again, younger, didn't pay as close attention as I should. But I find myself, the older I've gotten, being a foodie is a very big thing. So I've turned into one of these guys that Barry isn't a TikTok guy, but I enjoy
Not a
TikTok
TikToker.
Oh, I
just
like
for the
TikTok, so I get
recipes.
it.
There's great recipes. There's, I like the fact there's a trend on there for, for guys of a certain age, health routines, things not doing Botox, going an all natural route. So Mentioning that, do you have, whether or not it's in your magazine or your podcast, do you ever speak to any gentleman, doctor, or, a variety of that, of offering those kind of tips specifically for men of a certain age?
Well, my demographic is mostly geared towards 35 and up.
Okay.
So it's an understanding that you are very clear about. And I've approached a lot of gentlemen friends of mine that it has the same transition. Every man kind of, this is a blanket thing that I will be careful to not disclude anyone or not include anyone. It's your own choice. And some people are not, or they are. But in a way that you always think you're 20 something. You know, you always gonna think you're healthy and it's fine and you're strong and you don't need to worry about these things. And then exactly how you explain something, a health issue has brought itself forward, and now you need to step back and kind of re-embrace life in a way that this is your body, this is your life. How are you going to take care of you before you take care of everyone else? Men in a relationship and in a concept, they're very protective energy, and that's a very classic archetype of a gentleman's behavior, but it translates to everyone. We have a little protective energy in us. We're masculine and feminine, which we can do. It's very important to give protection to other people, but what are you providing for yourself? Sometimes you have to step away in any connective relationship or family vibe or anything that you need some tender love and care, like everybody. But sometimes you have to give that to yourself before you expect it from someone else. So taking care of yourself gives you a higher energy, and you know how to appreciate you because this is your journey. This is your lifetime. So if I joke with people that are retired. They're like, I want to travel. I want to travel so bad. Great. I've traveled a lot of places. I love traveling. But the thing is, I'll make a metaphor for you. You want to go to Paris because your lady or just yourself wants to go. And it's an amazing place. And if you want to budget travel, a little cheaper, not really ridiculously expensive, and then you have to lug the suitcase, right? Your suitcase is, 45 to 50 pounds over a beautiful Airbnb that you found, and it's 5 flights of stairs up to the top. How good are you going to do if you can lift this circular staircase all the way up with your 52-pound bag, and you may have joint issues, you have hip issues, you have knee issues, and that's okay. Maybe you can rent a more expensive hotel that has an elevator, but not everywhere in Europe has an elevator or AC. So in that, like, how do you equalize yourself to sustain your core strength from your center? Like, working on your core will make you have good posture, have stance, work on your knees. Like runners, you run forever and then you're like, oh, my joints hurt, tennis elbow, like all these things. You're like, oh, I didn't know I was there. I was like, I guess I'm there now. And I'm like, oh, I have to think about that. So it's these like informative things that you can step away, and it's not a criticism, it's a help. So if you are interested in those ideas, this is a really good platform to kind of explore some recipes and then work on your health and like what movement. Football players take ballet. So this is an important thing to be aware of. It's like, how they have that hot step and they can dance around everything, like bypass everybody and like go to the touchdown. They still have to do ballet to get those quick feet. But injuries happen because of people in sports or anything like that. You're like, okay, I broke my shoulder. Yeah. So taking care, like I recommend chondroitin is a great one for your shoulders and joints. It's a ligament one. So most men don't take this because after time, our joints kind of recede and you're like, okay, our posture recedes. So all these things, like I laugh that we say aging is not for the weak, but aging is better for the wise.
Ooh, I like that. You could put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, make a t-shirt about it. But it's like this is the enjoyment of like what do you want to wake up to every day? Men have and women have a hard time with answering the ultimate question on what they want and being specific about it. So it takes
Ooh.
some time to ponder and embrace like what's your specific purpose? Like, what do you want to achieve in this lifetime? Is it a physical thing? Is it a mental thing? Is it a hobby? Is it something that brings you joy? All these things are considerations of how you spend your time in this life. And in that, it can be very useful to make sure that you feel great. Like Barry has a great hobby. He loves bees. Like that's an activity that you're in nature and you're around like an environment and you have like this pretty landscape. You have these buzzy bees everywhere and you don't have to fear them. They're just like, creatures doing their work. And we're all doing our work. We're entire cornucopia of hive people. And so what is your work that you want to do here? It could be a thought process or it could be a physical process. So yeah.
I like mostly the idea of the thought process. I'm not a very physical guy. I think the most active thing I do is occasionally play golf and skateboard. And when I say skateboard, it's on a flat surface because I got a longboard many years ago, and I'm a man of a certain age. And when I started going down that hill, it's like my life flashed before my eyes, and I'm like, if I take this hit now, it's not going to be like when I was in my 20s. So I immediately put that over the side, went back to doing golf, but then started doing meditation and doing certain things as far as like yoga, a lot of stretching. What I learned, I don't like hanging out with my nephew and him mocking me when I get up going, and then he goes, I'm like, all right, maybe I need to start doing something. So you sounds like you focus on a lot of that stuff to better yourself physically as well as mentally, which kind of encompasses the whole tranquility thing.
Yes, it's the mission to find your own tranquility. And a prime example that you just mentioned is the idea like injuries suck. No one loves them. Like also when you get older and you're like mocked on by your nephew, it's like I used to be really good at this, by the way. And I was like, thank you for shaming me, but I'm not trying to be shamed by you. But physical stretch is a very important thing, especially for men. When I have a lot of people that go in, rush into the gym, they're like pumping iron and they're doing all this or they haven't been doing it for a long time. And now they realize that, 10 years ago, they were able to do all this and it was easy. Stretching is so important. Yoga, stance, like direction, because it's internal muscle stretches that are important. You want that golf swing? You need to do some exercise before you stretching, before you get that golf swing back in action, because it's your hips, your shoulders, your torso, all turning in a very strategic manner to get that ball over, the entire green. And in order to do that, you need to be conscious that you need to warm your shoulders up, reach high, reach low, stretch it out a little bit before you try to jump yourself in. And these are important things. Also, golf is a great paradigm for meditation. There's so many different levels of meditation. People get confused that you have to use your yoga position and do this instead, in a way that you're upright. There is also something called a move meditation. That could be golf. It's like you get into your own zone. You're in the game and you're flowing with it. And the conversations in your head, the internal dialogue that I've placed is like your ego versus your higher self. These are two different dialogues that happen all the time. Ego never stops talking. Consistently will tell you something you didn't want to know. Your insecurities will pop up, your self-critique, anything like that. You hear from it. But when you're quieter and when you take your time with it, this very tiny voice will tell you something that you're like, oh, that's the answer to the project that I'm working on. That's the answer to this thing that I was considering doing, but I didn't know if it was a choice. It's like we could call it your spirit guides, your higher self. It's you talking to you about maybe it's a good time to do that thing you were talking about a couple of weeks, but it keeps popping up and maybe that's your choice. I always compare it to it's like ego is fear based and the higher self is love based. When you feel joy and you feel love and you feel supported by something, even though the ego will chime in very fast and be like, you can't do that. Who are you? Do you think you can achieve this goal or this? But that's the one that you get into that flow. If you're in golf and you're like, I'm out in nature, I'm very grounded by nature, and I'm enjoying the game. And I'm considering the game, but I'm not forcing the game. I love to play games, in a way that I love anything that's a board game or anything, a nature game. Golf is one of my favorites. But, that's you're just enjoying the fact that you're playing, but you're not trying to win. And if you're trying to win, it's a competition.
Yeah.
But
I know I'm not going to win with most of the guys. A lot of the time I just think to myself, please don't shank it. Please don't shank it. Focus,
I'm in the
breathe.
rough. I'm in the sand. I was like, how dare you? I was like, and then you're like self-loathing those moments. You're like, how did I get there? I did not even shoot here. I was like, and then you're just beating trees. Like, talk to the trees. Have a moment. This is also golf is a good narrative for life choices. I'm in the rough right now. Like, I'm in the weeds. Like, I'm hanging out with a tree because I think my golf ball is up in the tree. I have no idea where it is. It's like, okay, is that an egg or is that a golf ball? I don't know. I'm like, okay, it's in the sand. It's like, okay, I just roll around in the sand for an hour until I find my golf ball somewhere, or you get into the water. Water is very grounding too. And it's like, that's a part of like being in a constant flow. Sometimes when you force things, you try to paddle up board. Like, you're on a river and this is the stream of life. And then you get to a transition that you don't like it. And you're trying to change it. You're trying to force it. And you're swimming upstream against this current. And you're like, oh yeah, I should just go with the flow because it's going to take me somewhere that I need to go. And change is a hard thing for a lot of people. And change is a beautiful consideration that you have to do for you, not anyone else, because no one can force anyone to change. That's kind of a ridiculous idea. But, it's a beautiful thing to celebrate the tiny joys that you find in life.
And a lot of the time too, people forget, especially when it not only making small changes, sometimes you have to make a small change in order to accomplish a much larger change. But without truly being open to any change, well, you're just kind of closing the door of any opportunity that could be helping you. And that's one thing I've learned throughout the years, which is a lot of yoga and meditation. And I'll tell you, this is going to sound weird to a lot of people that have never done it. And I'm hoping you can elaborate on this for me. When it comes to meditation, the hardest thing for me, believe it or not, is breathing. Because there's so much that goes into it. And it seems silly, right? It's like, well, you have to breathe or you're going to pass out. Well, there's something about what I learned in meditation and doing yoga that the instructor kept coming up to me and going, Josh, you got to remember to breathe. And I'm like, it's hard to focus. Advice on something as simple, but goes a long way of breathing. What kind of advice and help can you offer for that?
Well, I think breathing, you can have you ever gotten in a situation where someone and you're having a conversation and you don't know why it's uncomfortable for you? And you're like, I don't know anything about you, or I just feel uncomfortable. You breathe from your chest at this point, and it's like an anxiety breath. This comes from your upper body, but you have to transition it. Occasionally, just check in with yourself. You don't have to do a lot of meditation, 1 minute only. You can sit at a parking light and then sit there for a while when you're waiting for it or sitting in traffic. Someone will honk at you. It will tell you when to go. But you can breathe, and you want to go for your abdomen. This is childhood breathing. Like when you felt safe and protected and you were in a very safe environment and you slept and you had parent figures taking care of you, and the idea that this is your natural breath from your abdomen up. So when you get the baby belly, this goes out and then it goes in, and it's like, this is the common breath that's relaxing. And this is the most important thing to focus on, because here in LA, we're so fast paced and we're running around, we're rushing everywhere. And it's like, we have to be this place and at this time. And these people expect me to do that. And I was like, that's one of those sighing moments. You're like, okay, I need a breath to stop myself and be here. And a lot of people, breathing comes with being present. So we're thinking about our past, what we've achieved before, where we're going, and all the failures that we've experienced. Everyone has failures. If you haven't had failures, you're not living. But failures are great teaching tool. But when you transition to your future and what you're looking to create and what you're prospectively dreaming about, and this future idea, relationships, business, self-help, whatever is there in the future, but also it's right here. So if you're not present right here, that you take a moment to pause and take a deep breath, you can understand that this is the moment that you're alive and you're safe and nothing's wrong and nothing is going to inflict pain on you. There's a great one they teach in military, police officers, paramedics, and most people. It's called circle breath. This is for a high octane anxiety moment that you have to make very important decisions about your life or saving someone else's. And circular breathing and in through your mouth, and like in through your nose and out through your mouth. And it's like 3 seconds of going and then preparing yourself to go into a situation that could be life or death for some people. And this circular breathing is an important thing that every paradigm for men and women is important to understand. When you pair it back to Eastern traditions, karate, like anything like that, taekwondo has this core energy of breathing through your movements. Tai Chi, great example of that. Also yoga, amazing. But this breath comes from being here and where you are now. And if you decided to go, oh my God, I'm just going to try out yoga for the first time. And that breathing thing, it's an exercise. Like you were talking about habits, changing one. I recommend mini habits, like mini changes, micro changes. Don't go big and like say, oh yeah, I'm going to be there tomorrow and I'm going to have everything done. Achievable goals, tiny. So just showing up for a yoga class means you're there, or you found one. Great. These are 2 achievable goals. Or Tai Chi, or finding an outlet. You meet friends this way, or you meet people that are like-minded. But a way it's like, like that's nice that I had it. Like gratitude is part of it. Like that's nice that I met some great people and I had a good time and I feel rested. Because yoga is also a practice. It's like going to the gym. Like when you used to go skateboard all the time, this is a practice and a habit. You're like, oh, golf is the same thing. Like you have to be consistent about it. And your consistency is also calling yourself out and then taking time to breathe and find the places that you want to go and spend your time on. But breathing, you can go anywhere or do it in your chair. You don't have to move anywhere, or you can do a move one. Walking, taking a walk around the block. I try to problem solve when I'm doing that, like go on a walk to figure out a solution to a problem. I go on a long walk and I try not to talk to myself internally for too long. Because nothing is going to happen from that. But yeah.
Why is that woman talking to herself again? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I just interviewed someone who's like talk out loud. And this is a good idea of how you talk to yourself. Like changing your internal narrative is a hard and like long course. It doesn't happen overnight. Like we're like, oh, man, I really messed up at that place. Or like, I should have said this at that moment. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to do this. It's like these self critiques. And then you change the narrative over time. You're like, wow, it's a nice day. Like, it's so pretty outside. I really like the fact that my flowers are blooming. Or like, oh, I love my tea. I have this meeting with a friend of mine. I'm so excited to meet them. Like, the gratitude that slowly comes into your internal narrative transitions in a way that you're talking to yourself in a better way. Like, she gave an example. She was talking about the way her father used to speak to himself when he got ready in the morning. And I thought that was a great analogy about how we talk to. I'm looking great today. I am having a good hair day. Like I love my like suit on, and it is like pump yourself up to go outside and feel good about you. Like I have a great shirt on for this. And it's like I have comfortable shoes. I really like my kicks. Like, things like this are like tiny, like micro things that make you smile. And that's part of life.
Love it. Barry, are you ready to start breathing? You ready to start doing yoga, Barry?
He's meditating back there. He's been contemplating his whole like transition, how he can achieve these tiny things that I'm sharing with you. I was like, yeah, but you also do that. I was like, hang out with your turtles, Funk, and then you can have a moment where they're just chilling and they're not moving too fast. They're not going anywhere. They're not in a rush. They're just moving. And you're like, okay, it's a turtle race, not a rabbit race.
Tell us about some of your guests on your podcast. Can you spotlight a couple of those?
So Vasi Kumar was one that I was mentioning about her father, and she has her own podcast, and it's called Speak Out Loud or Shout Out Loud, I think it's called. And she's great. She's very positive. She's all about talking to yourself. And then I've had some really good authors that I focus on. I just did one she has a book called The Be the Magic. And I wanted to express, she was talking about little tiny micro philosophies about life stories that she achieved. And she was very happy and optimistic. And most of my interviews are sometimes very educated and influenced. I had a professor on one recently, and he was talking about Dharma Bums was his book. But it has a longer title, Dharma Bums and the Literary Understanding. And so the Dharma Bums book was borrowed by Jack Kerouac's Understanding. And then he's a literary professor that talks a lot about ideas about people and perspectives that are already written and how to explain it. It's like breaking down Shakespeare and explaining like, the lost poets. Basically, that is what he does. He's amazing. He has his own free meditation classes. They're linked on Tranquility on his bio and her show notes for his interview, that he does a free meditation class all the time that you can do, like we're doing, a Zoom call or a video chat, where he talks about setting people up to enjoy their meditation. It's, 30 minutes, 10 minutes a day. Like, what else are you going to do? Okay, yeah, you missed out a series for 2 minutes, and then, you're having dinner. You had finished your dinner, and then you can sit down and you can turn on the meditation and just 10 minutes. That will change everything. But I've had a lot of great inspiring, and Michelle is an amazing one. She talks about physical fitness, and she talks about this TRX that I had no idea about what TRX is. And apparently this military person invented a TRX training thing, and not thing, but it's like an actual rope, and then you could tie it to a tree and you can put it anywhere. And she has her own YouTube site, Move Around with Michelle, I think it's called. And so basically, she does a lot of TRX training, came from a Marine. So she's doing like really core training, and she's all about physical fitness, and she's just, she looks amazing. She looks amazing for her age. I'm just impressed by her physique, and her spirit is very high. So it's always a joy to meet people that are optimistic and inspiring on their own journeys. And that's part of what the podcast that I'm creating is like, let's be inspired by someone. You don't have to pay for a class. This is not a lecture. This is just an informative narrative. They're like, I really liked what they said, and maybe I can go do that myself, or maybe I'll just consider it, or I'll read their books, or anything that like influences you to change your idea and make you smile is the goal too.
I think that's what Barry's trying to do with this show, is have a lot of the same guests that you have. I keep telling him we want more relationships and sex advice, because that's really what I want, but I'm trying to put it on him to say, well, don't you think we need more? And he just doesn't get it. Just why I'm glad you're on the show, so I can keep hinting towards that.
Oh, okay.
Do you have in your magazine, do you have a lot of stuff that deals with relationships and things like that?
Well, so I'm leaning towards having one for February specifically because it's Valentine's Day and
Valentine's.
relationships and love. So for in my mind, when I back up and talk about my experience in relationships, I've done a lot of what we call the self work. So this is a goal that if you want to go out and you're starting out for dating, and people have been in a long relationship and now you're going back on the market, like how do you work for this, and like how do you work for that, or what do you want to achieve by your relationship, what do you see in your future, what are your goals for that, but how are you psychologically ready for that too? Maybe you're used to it and you think it's like normal, but it's like you need to spend a little time getting to know yourself without your former partner, because who are you now? But in relationships, it should be an exchange. It should be a team. It should be work together, cheerlead each other, support each other, be there for each other. And those goals end up being a longer term sustainable relationship, which for me is my goal. And I would like to see like a lot of people be self-aware of their own journey before they pop on. They're like, I just want some TLC. Can you just love on me, please? Like, that's cute. Everybody wants that. But like, I want someone that knows themselves or knows who they are and can talk about it and also be humble. Humble is a sexy thing, I'll tell you. If you can be humble a little bit, in your idea that you're not egotastic and narcissistic, you're a great person that is a core driven, amazing person down deep, because beauty comes from within, never from without. And men are more focused on attractive, like they're fit, they're pretty, all those things. But in the core of conversations, and how do you have those difficult conversations with someone when I like this one that I learned about the idea of a safe word, not in a way that's like a kinky safe word. It's a safe
Ooh.
word to have for you, having those discussions that you're trying not to take it personally and aggravate each other to escalate it to a fight. So we'll make it a one that everybody knows, pineapple, but that means something else now that I learned. But we'll say like pineapple. We're living together or something. And I was like, listen, I really appreciate, always have appreciation for the other person. I really appreciate when you do this. But I have to say that sometimes I get annoyed that your clothes are all over the floor. And for me, I would appreciate, be clear with men specifically. I've learned this. Be very clear on what you need. Don't be vague. Don't be like extended. They're like, it's annoying. And like, but I'm going to tell you exactly specifically what you should do for helping the balance of relationship. Because it's like, can you please put your laundry in the laundry basket? I would appreciate that because it will make me happy. Because most men should make people happy and women too. Like, I love that you cook dinner and would you like me to do the dishes? So it's like those conversations that I think people don't really want to speak up and talk about things. They get scared about losing someone that their love will change you. Love will be like, okay. And women in general compromise very easily. We're very giving nature that I will change what I'm doing for another thing. And I'm like, what about my things and what I wanted to do? And I'm compromising to keep you happy, but what are you doing for me right now? So this is like a very tender course that I try to err in the idea of gratitude. Sometimes seeing something that someone that you're dating or talking to is doing well. Okay, this is a good example about going on a date. I really love it. And I will tell people if it makes it clear and transparent. I really love it when you set up a date and a time for me and we meet at a specific location. Nothing sexier than a man that still makes reservations. All right. So I can make all these things happen, but I have to step back and not take the control of the situation. Like we can meet here at this time at this place, which I'm really great at, but I'm like, this is your turn. Like, what are you going to offer? And what are you coming to the table with? Doing something that's important for having an effort. Sexy to make an effort. You want to feel valued. Everyone to be valued, seen, and appreciated. These are three things you always need to be aware of when you're dating or in a relationship. And when you're in a relationship, Valentine's Day is a great day, but inside one, you should always have a date every 2 weeks. Like, you need to have a date to take them somewhere fun. It doesn't have to be expensive, but knowing them well enough will give you a thing. Taking them on a picnic, taking to the beach, like having that fun or playing a game or trying something new. I heard this podcast, this guy was talking about the idea about he will go on a weekend getaway with his wife that he's been married for 20 years and they have no idea what they're going to. They don't know what they're doing. They just know the location and the hotel and then everything is a game. Like just play, have fun. Like you don't know what restaurant you're going to, like you don't know what you're going to see. Like you just arrive there and make a game out of enjoying an unusual locations together, laugh hard, enjoy it, and then have a heart to heart moment. You're like, gosh, I really enjoy having quality time with you. And thanks for making the effort that you set it up that we're going to have fun and play together. Because that's what a relationship should be, that play, that fun. Like, think about it when you were a child, like, when you raced around, like, chase some lady or, also when you're dating in college, you say, or like not college, specifically high school. You ever taken a lady on a date in high school and you saved all your money to take her there? Or maybe your parents had to pick her up, or it was like a walk somewhere. And like all these things are like, that's the joy of dating. Finding that joy again when you go back out on the market because you save up the money and you're so excited to like kind of see if they're happy about it. But the nice thing about that, they already knew each other a little bit because they were around each other in the same environment. But that playful fun is part of being alive, and enjoying another people's like company and choosing your mate is important for your well-being and how you feel about yourself. Like, do I feel really happy after I've hung out with this person, or do I feel really sad? And like, it's hard because relationships are always about work. And some days are up and some days are like tired days. And like, you're optimistic all the time and then you're like, oh, it's crash and burn day. Like I feel very exhausted. And like sometimes I don't want to talk. I just want to sit there and stare at nothing. And like getting to know a person, it's like their energy will affect your energy. So sometimes when you have like they joke about men's period, don't get one specifically, but you get one when you live with someone else. So you're like, I'm feeling grouchy, tired, fatigued, and I'm grumpy today. And I was like, welcome to the board. I was like, it's not a new thing for us. But yeah, so these tiny things are really important to consider when you're dating or already in a relationship. Because value that person because hopefully they're in for the long haul. But like if they're not, you didn't really appreciate the person that you have with you. Or you haven't worked on yourself that you need value and love from someone else because love comes from within first. And then it translates that you get a relationship and they pick all your triggers. That's a mirror. You need to see yourself because they can call you out on the same things that drive you nuts. You're like, oh, okay. I didn't realize I did that. Okay. Maybe I need to work on that and consider what you said.
So Jasmine, I'm curious, are you dating? Are you married? Are you in a relationship? You've got a lot to say about what's needed for a good relationship. I have to ask, are you actually in one? Are you dating or what's
So
going on?
I'm back dating. So I was in a long-term relationship for 8 years. Long distance is hard. So during the pandemic, he was in London. I was here in Los Angeles because I used to live in London for a long time. And doing that long distance is hard. And if it's like, what are we going to do to like navigate the no travel, no zone for a while? And how are we? Did we grow apart or are we still together? And so and that we amicably separated, but also like being back in the dating, I spent a lot of time doing the self work, discovering who I was, what I want, what like specifically I'm working on, like where my insecurities are, where I didn't really do well in the last relationship that I could have said it better. And I could have like achieved better when I was communicating because you get insecure and vulnerable. You're like, oh, are you going to judge me after I say something that I, should have said? Or are you going to leave now? Like, am I going to make you mad? I was like, confrontation is not my passion project that I want to be in confrontations with people. I like loathe them, but they are very telling moments. I don't like to escalate. I love to have a debate or discussion. Let's talk about it. Let's unpack it. Let's discuss it. But I don't want to be like, you did this and you suck and I don't like this and I don't like you and blah blah blah, and you like get frizzled and fiery and like you regret what you say, and that is not a healthy environment. But sometimes that firing thing that people want passionate sex afterwards, and it's like that's the way they operate and two people can work like that, but it's just not me. And I've been on the dating a little bit because I took a lot of time. I met some great people, but for me like there was different people that I embraced. I'm always open to meet people, but sometimes it's like I don't think we'll work out, unfortunately, because we have a very different hobbies and things that interest us. And like I value people that have their own hobbies. If I don't do it, like I was talking to my sister about the idea, would I ever date a runner, like one that wakes up every morning and goes running? And I was like, if they don't want me to do it too, I am all on board. But if you expect me to wake up at 5 a.m. and gonna run, I don't like running. This is a very telling thing. I don't like to run. I will walk anywhere. I love to go hiking, but I'm not a runner and I've never been into running. So if that's your hobby and you expect me to do it with you, you're probably going to be disappointed that I won't change that about me. Or bicycling. I like to go biking. But like I'm like a casual like street, like a beach cruiser, not a like uphill mountain bikey and or so like one of those narrow like street like like the teams of people that do it in spandex, and I was like, yeah, probably not my style either. I was like, but I appreciate that people take care of themselves and have an activity that keeps them healthy, and they love it and they enjoy it, as long as they don't expect me to share in it. But hey, have your boy time, go enjoy your thing. But we have this thing that we do in common. I love camping. Let's go camping. That'd be great. Like, so there's a balance in every consideration. And you think about some people, for a lady, I've met some people that are too controlling and looking for a specific type of lady that I won't really change myself that much to become. Because I would go crazy if I didn't have a project to do or something that I love doing. If you want me to be a stay at home provider kind of idea, that's great for a lot of people, but not really for me. So I learned a lot from that, and I took away a lot of moments that I was like, you're like, chemistry is a great thing, but it's like, do we have a really great conversation? Because it's like first love, two great things. Love comes in the honeymoon phase, and all the compliments are great. But do you like spending time with them? Do you want to spend more time with them? Because the physical things, most men are like, ooh, you're attractive. We could do, some physical activities. It's like, yeah, I'm interested, but I don't know if I like you yet. So take the time with it to grow. There was a policy they did for a 90-day timeline before things get physical. Because I will admit that when I get physical with someone, I get very intimately involved. Like, I'm in it now. Like, I'm in it, whatever this is. And I like to take my time before I throw that in, because it just kind of comes up. They're like, oh, there's some red flags. There's some more red flags. Oh, you hit that. Because the clauses on dating, it's like the 3 months. In the 3 months, kind of have all the honeymoon and all the fluff. And then you get into like that transition that you kind of develop learning who they actually are. And then you're leaning to who they are. And then at 6 months, they're exposing who they actually are. At the 6 months moment, you're like, all right, are we in it for the long run? They call now it's um cuffing season, October. That's like the lockdown. Here in LA, we have a season like the movie industry. It starts in March and it ends in October. Are you good enough for me to survive the holidays with you, no matter what holidays you celebrate? So it's just like, am I going to take you to meet people, like my personal tribe of friends, my family, anything like that? These are considerations that it kind of fizzles out off after October. Enjoying these moments, you're learning by other people, great tools for knowing who you are and what you are too. But don't waste people's time if you're not ready. And if you're just use another app, you're like TikTok, or not TikTok. What's it called? Tinder. Use Tinder for fun. Now it's like, are you an open relationship? Are you bisexual? Are you troubling? I was like, I have no idea. I'm like, all of those. I'm traditional vanilla relationship.
So how are you finding these guys that you are currently, or any guy trying to date? Are you not, it sounds like you're not doing any of the actual, the Hinge or Bumble or any of that, or
I've
you
tried.
seem like the type that goes out and maybe meets people, or what are you doing?
I would say both for me. So I've met people. I went on a really long hike one day and I was very hungry. I get hangry when I'm hungry. And then I went on a long hike, was talking to nature for 3 hours, and I was starving. And I went to this like bougie restaurant and I sat down in the bar. I had a conversation with the bartenders because I love their little gossips. And I was in a tiny town and I ended up meeting a great person. And then we had a lovely conversation, and then he asked me for my phone number, and then we ended up like going on a couple dates, but we have a different timeline and experience of what we're looking for specifically. And then I've done the Bumble, I've done the Hinge, but the thing is, the absentee of effort is a hard one for me. It's like Bumble makes you have the first interaction. I always make like a trivia question or something funny. Like I was like, okay, so you know why Europe is a frying pan?
I don't know.
No, it's because there's grease at the bottom. Okay, Barry got it. Okay, but in
I like
that,
it.
it's like,
Yeah. It's my kind of joke.
yeah, it's
We
like,
love those. He does bees. Of course he likes those
right?
jokes.
Yeah, I was like, those jokes are important in a way that, like, how fun are you? How much can you laugh about it? Or I have a weird sense of humor. So are you going to like my sense of humor, or are you not really going to understand it at all? Because that's me. So if you don't get my jokes, I have to re-explain them. I was like, oh, I don't think we'll get along because I have a weird sense of humor. And if you don't get my weird, sarcastic, and sometimes like dry humor, we're not going to get along. Or
Well,
like, that's the thing. It's like it's telling that, I have to explain myself all the time. Probably the jokes are absent now. So I was like, but the effort side of Hinge and Bumble, it's like you start up a chat. It's like entertainment. Oh, this lady liked me. And I was like, and then you start the conversation 2 sentences later, and it's like, oh, thank you for making that effort. It's not really. I don't think after the pandemic, people understand going to meet people in person. I just bought this ring. I think it's called the pearl ring, and it's a very European one. It's the mail right now. It's a teal ring that you're supposed to wear to inform people that you're single. Because if you meet people face to face at our age, you're like, are you married? Are you not married? Some men wear rings, some men do
Yeah, but
not.
then you have to know about that pearl ring
yeah,
thing,
I
and
have
most
no
guys
idea.
aren't gonna.
Oh, okay. That's why I was like,
I
I
don't
bought
know
it.
what. I don't know
So
what
pearl
that is.
ring, it's a teal ring, and it basically, if you wear it on your finger, any finger you choose, it basically is a signal that you're single and available if you want to meet people face to face. But I have no problem. I meet a lot of people because of what I do. I love interactions. I was just at the business expo, and like I don't really like to pair my working life with my personal life. And so for that, I love meeting new people, but I'm not really thinking of shopping around for someone unless I sit down and we happen to have a great conversation. So then I'm like, but it is like a test of what I'm looking for too. It's just like, yeah, the chemistry is there. I'm sure the physical would be fun, but I don't know if we would be compatible after the physical. So,
Well, you
and
gotta. I think you got to give a lot of that time. I'm going to give you a
Mhm.
quick mail thing. Look,
Oh, here we go,
Uh-huh.
Josh. All right.
well, because I know we're running low on
Buckle
time, so I'll
seat.
make it super quick.
Okay.
Look, when it comes to from the flip side of things, look, I am also that guy that is on all these apps.
Mhm.
It always starts off with a decent conversation. There's good. I like to call it the verbal tennis match. It's a nice back and forth. It's all gravy. Then you go out and you actually meet and you see if there's any sort of physical chemistry because you've already built some sort of a verbal chemistry. Now, it's
Mhm.
obviously going to take a little while to see if there's any true compatibility. But what I have discovered is that either the woman has entirely a laundry list of stuff that I am just not willing to get into on one date. It is going to take 3 dates for us to start to do that. So how about you
Yeah.
pump the brakes and let's just start super simple with some jokes, a little wine, a good time, and then we see where it goes from there. So from the guy perspective, look, I'd love to jump into bed with every hot chick I ever went out with, but it's not realistic anymore
True.
because I don't have enough time in my day to give that, right? Like you said it
Mhm.
yourself that if you are physical, you
Yeah.
put a lot of your heart into it. I'm a more mature guy now. I'm a guy of a certain age that gets that now. I didn't in
Mhm.
my 20s. I get it now. So I go into it thinking if I'm actually going to go that far. And I realize within a couple of days, 2, 3 dates that I'm not going to be the one to stick around for 3 to 6 months. Then I shake hands and I move on because I don't believe in wasting anybody's time.
True. That's a
And
good idea.
and I think if more guys did that, then maybe the dating scene would be better. I hate apps. I'm old school. I would much rather
I know.
go
I'm
introduce
like that too.
myself. Hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Jasmine or whoever I would meet. So trust me, there's a few guys like Barry and I still out there in the world. Now, wrapping this up, look, what's next for Tranquility Magazine? We've loved talking to you today, and I can't wait to listen to a couple of your episodes on there. What's next? What's the
Uh,
next big thing?
so thank you. I would mention one thing that I learned from this just to pair off. The 36 questions to love. I asked those on the dating app. If they can hang out for around 10 of them, they're unpacking who you actually are. We're really good and really informative, that it's like a little bit vulnerable and you know who they are, and then go on the dates and hang out and figure it out. But on that, like, Tranquility is launching. We do a monthly podcast and we do a monthly content. We just posted one for about habits on there, and then we have an interview coming up. And then brace yourself, because you asked about men or women. The next one is about mind over menopause. And in the idea that it also, men and women need to talk about it in not an ugly way. It's very informative that, like, if she's transitioned all over the place and you want to know what's wrong, this is a good one to talk about your physical fitness in that for a lady, but also be mindful as a guy that you have someone that you're dating that's going through menopause and you're like, you're bipolar today. Like, I don't even know who you are. Like, you forget everything I say. Like, these are important topics. And then I have a couple coming out also monthly. So I'm excited to interview a lot of people and then just, inform people about very difficult decisions, but be optimistic about it. Let's learn entirely decisional process. Pairing on what you said, I'm a grown man, that dating thing, I just thought about the idea that I witnessed the fact that a man is emotionally mature at 43. And I was like, oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah, right. Mhm.
That's about right, though. That makes sense. I started changing certain views past, 42 to 46. A
Mhm.
lot of my views have changed from the old school of what I would typically do. I mean, being a rock radio guy, was very machismo, very,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But,
We're that department.
yeah, trust me, I've been called a lot, and after a while, as you learn, you're like, okay, well, that kind of sucks. I don't want to be known as some chauvinist or something. I just have a very masculine opinion. I can't help that. But I learned to
At least
taper
you
it
know
down.
yourself.
Yeah, I've learned to taper it down and step back and listen and do this thing called communication. It's amazing what
Woo!
you can do.
Yeah, because you talk all the time, and now you have to step away and be like, I'm gonna listen.
I'm gonna
This is
listen.
great. Yeah.
That's right.
So find us on Tranquility to close out on tranquilitymagazine.com. You can find us on most of the platforms for our podcast, Tranquility Magazine Podcast, and we're on all social media platforms. So if you want questions and you have more topics, you can always reach out through Instagram or Facebook. We're always happy to help or make suggestions about articles that you want to see, because we're happy to do the research. I have a team of mostly ladies, and there are 5 of us, so I'm excited for them and their work that they're doing to contribute as well.
Awesome.
I love it. And I'd love to have you back, Jasmine. I mean, it's an
Yes.
open door
Thank you.
policy with you.
Thank you both
Hopefully.
very much. All right. Well,
We'll talk about life
congratulations.
anytime.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the nightly, idea, because it's very ambient right now. So I feel very because I love
Tranquil.
nighttime talk radios. Yes, tranquil. All right. Cheers, man. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Thanks,
Jasmine
Jasmine.
on the program. All right. And
Takes time to settle out, to lose myself to the rhythm again. Sometimes I am on fire, but I can't seem to burn out yet. If I knew whether I'd win or lose, or if I knew what I'd been despaired of. Oh, this is no blessing, but at least it's not a curse. It could have been so much worse. But I was so close, I could almost touch the sky. It all came falling down when I saw you cry. Every time I close my eyes, the world opens up below me.